Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Live After Discussing a Murderer, episode 30. Nice to see everybody there in chat. Little disclaimer today. So before I begin, I'm operating from my cell phone today, actually. So you have to bear with me. I might not be as quick to answer in the comments, and if I miss your comment, I apologize. But working from my cell phone definitely has its limitations. I'm going to be leaning heavily on Calf and Jack and Kel this evening. So why don't we go around and just welcome everybody in, get a chance to say hello. So we'll start with Jack. Hey, Jack, how's it going tonight, buddy?
Well, number one, I want to check my volume level. So you guys out there are gonna have to tell me if I'm too hot, and I can turn it down.
Yeah, that would be a nice thing. Other than that,
Number two,
That would be
how
a
you
nice
been?
thing.
How you
number
been?
two, I gotta. I'm doing great. I got a new computer today. I actually have had it ordered for a couple of weeks, and I
That
got it
sounds like a
today.
slow clap. Congratulations,
golf,
Jack.
little golf clap.
Well, it's a
Yeah,
big day when anybody gets a new piece of technology. You know, I got a new
Oh, and
iPad like 3 months ago, and I still won't shut up about it. So, that's how it
yeah.
is. We love our
Well, I
technology,
mean,
like creature
you
comforts
know,
now. You know.
well, I got my last one in August or September 3 years ago, 2020. And, I'm arguing with Zoe and Susan and a bunch of them. They're like, you just got a computer. It's like, I'm like, no, it was almost 3 years ago. No, it wasn't. I'm like, yeah, it really was. So, anyway, I had the opportunity to get this one. It's a gaming laptop. It's not really what I wanted. The problem being with technology, and I don't know how many nerds are out there or actually in here. Probably not that many, but I'm a little nerdy because it's just something that interests me. Has for, but always has. Anyway, to get what I had, the Dell laptop that I had, it uh, it was what I wanted, but technology has moved forward by leaps and bounds since 2020. To get that same laptop with one of the 13th generation i7 or i9, and the video card and yada yada blah blah blah, it was over $4,000, and I'm not kidding.
Wow.
That's for a laptop. I'm not kidding. Anyway, to get this Alienware, which has got a really nice video card and some other bells and whistles, it was a lot less. So I said, you know what?
That's
I
how
got
you
the
do
money.
it.
I'm going to get it. That's what I did.
Nice.
So,
Congratulations, Jack. We always love to get a new piece of equipment. I'm always trying to update something, and welcome back. And anything else to add?
I'm st- I'm still waiting for people to tell me if I'm too loud or not loud enough
Oh,
or
I think
what.
someone said that you all sound great. Bethany said you sound great. So
Oh,
maybe
awesome.
maybe turn it down just a hair, and then we'll be fine. I think. And then if you guys hear in the comments, just let us know if you think Jack's mic is too high, because just want everybody to enjoy the experience. So anyway,
Absolutely. I
moving.
don't want to. I don't want to blow anybody's ears off. So I'll turn it down just a little bit more.
All right, cool. And Cal, hey, how you doing? How you been? Good. Is it still morning? Good
Good
morning.
morning, everyone. Yes, it's morning. It's 10:12 a.m. on the 5th of the 4th of 20, or I always say 2023, but yeah, so it's April and it's been pretty hectic for me in the last few weeks. I've been pretty swamped. I think it's like the vibe out there at the moment. There's like a bit of a low in the community. There's health issues. I have faced some. And then there's just that overall sense of you know quietness in the case. And what I'm more aiming for at the moment is my daughter's 18th birthday in 2 more days on the 7th. So preparing for all that, and yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at, and it's good to be back.
Well, it's always great to hear you from you, Cal, and have you with us. Calf, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thanks. Yep, that's it.
That's it. Well, I'm
Yeah,
glad that you're doing good.
yeah, I'm doing
Um,
good.
Well, good vibes all around for everybody, and so thanks to everybody out in the chat world right now. Again, if I don't get to you, if I don't give you a shout out, I apologize. Operating from my phone tonight's not the easiest thing, but at least StreamYard has put that contingency plan in for us, so at least it's an option. So, nice to see you out there checking convictions. Awesome. It's always great to have you. And Bethany, Gloria, Anthony D, nice to see you. JJ Falk Jr. and Katie did it. Nice to see you guys. Lola Blue Skies, thanks for joining us coming in from another episode. Glad to have you in a live. Anthony Hills, I don't recall, and I think Maz and Kathy, and I think I'm up to date on everybody in the chat. So appreciate you guys joining and
Yes, we do
popping in
appreciate you
for us.
guys coming. I was just thinking that when I was looking at all their names, I was thinking, how appreciated I was that they're here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's really like a cool little community that we do this every 2 weeks, and I'm enjoying these more and more. And usually we talk about the episode that just premiered, a few things. Like tonight we can talk a little bit about FL or anything that comes out at you guys from the episode that we premiered, and then we can get back into our picture time with Jack. And we got, how many we got left? About 1,800 pictures to go, or what do you think?
1,600? It's a lot. 1,800.
Okay.
That folder's got a lot of photos in it, man. We didn't get that very far into that folder, so.
Well, there you have it. That's what we're going to be doing here on the lives every 2 weeks. So if you guys want to follow along with us, we always do picture time. Sometimes we have another topic that we hit. Nothing popping up. It's almost like a reflection on what Kel just said, and that is, it's kind of a slow time in the space right before I feel like we're going to hear something soon because of just how long it's been. We're going to hear a reply from Judge Ange, and maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like it's kind of a slow little time. So we don't really have like a big topic to discuss, but just anything, if anybody has anything to bring up right now that you've been thinking about, or about FL, about the last episode that we were talking about. FL is always a touchy subject for most of us.
Well, Shandy, I'm just going to quickly go back at the very beginning. I did put out there that open for discussion at the beginning, and then we'll move into pictures. But if anyone has any topics they want us to talk about, get the flow in the community, in the panel, in the chat going, let us know. But my apology, hang on, let me find it. Where is it? So it's more on the basis was, if Stephen is released, are there going to be any limitations on who can he sue, i.e. all the clowns that have retired? Is there any time statute in something like this? So I think that's a good little topic we could just quickly hit base on if everyone's comfortable in kind of giving their opinion.
Yeah, I thought that was a great question, actually. I don't really understand the law, unfortunately, but is there a statute of limitations on that? Does anyone know? Cal, you seem to know the law pretty well.
Well, I know as much as Big Jeff's and Jay Jacks's law firm, but I do a lot of reading and stuff. But yeah, I don't believe there is. I think that there is I think that what it's going to come down to is if Stephen is released, which we're all praying for, is on what reason, whether it becomes like a technicality, whether it becomes a wrongful conviction identified in the law itself. But again, I think there is no limitation. I think a civil trial like that can range any time, and I think Kathleen, that's her forte in terms of her strength is civil as well. So I imagine that if the tables turn and they see an opportunity, and when Stephen's released, like Kathleen has done to all her wrongful convictions, she's also represented them in the civil trials and has successfully won. If you go to her page, actually, they have a totality of all the reward, like the, I'm going to say reward money, but like the compensation money and how much she's made all her clients in total, and it's in the over millions. It's really a high figure. So I think it'll all come down, for me, in my opinion, what actually gets Stephen out and whether it's enough to move forward. And I think, like Shandy said, who is going to be held responsible for that wrongful conviction?
Yeah, I think that I think Kel's right. And just to add from what little bit I know from our, mine and her and Big Jeff's law firm, um, if they, let's just say, worst came to worst, and there was an Alfred plea thrown out, from Casey, and they said, look, and she said, look, this is the only way you're going to get out, and he took it. Then civil suit is typically off the table. You just take your lumps and you get out, and then from there, you try to prove your innocence, which I think Adam Braswell out of Tennessee, I think he's done that. Others have done that as well. But the number one thing was to get out. That aside, let's just say that Kathleen was to be able to get him out. Brendan gets out or whatever. I think that, I think that they would be able to, especially if they could prove malfeasance. I mean, really prove it, or have some really heavily circumstantial evidence that malfeasance occurred. Yeah, I definitely think that they would go for a lawsuit, because I just, my eyes just, or my mouth just kind of waters it thinking about all the different areas that we know about that are terrible in these cases. They're terrible. So, and we'll talk about some more that in a little bit after we get done with this.
It's interesting you actually bring up the plea. It's the alpha plea. That's something that I think Kathleen, in numerous interviews and even in like conferences when she's been asked, she's always said that that's off the table for Stephen Avery, that she would never accept it. Ultimately, if that was something that came forward, she would have to give that opportunity to Stephen to consider, and then ultimately it'd be his decision.
It's his decision, yeah.
Yeah, it's his decision. So whether or not he chooses to go forward, and I think that's just a really interesting question for the panel and for everyone in chat right now. This is purely, there is no right or wrong answers. This is purely an opinion of your own. But let's just put it out there. If you were Stephen and we all know his journey, and you were offered an alpha plea, would you at this stage, would you take it? Knowing that freedom is definitely in your foresight, it's definitely going to happen. But the issue is you can't claim any wrongful conviction payouts. You can't sue anyone. You are allowed to state that you are innocent, but you are in the court of law presumed guilty. So you maintain that guilt, but you're allowed to state that you are innocent. So would you take it, or would you ride this out and you would still keep spending time in prison as long as you're fighting for what you believe in, and that's the truth, one way or the other?
Can you explain an alpha plea? I think it was just a question Maz had.
Okay, yeah. So, and actually, J-Jax, would you like to take this? I kind of just gave a little bit of a summary, but if you want to elaborate any more on it.
It's basically saying that you're claiming that you're innocent, but you feel like that the state may have enough to find you guilty again if it went back to trial, even though it's the razor's edge. Really, is where you're at. You're dancing on the edge of a knife.
I got you. I don't know Stephen Avery. I don't claim to, but unless he's changed drastically since he's been in the last 15 years, I don't think he's going to agree to anything, right? I mean, that's just my gut instinct. I don't know what you guys think. That's just That's how I feel. I just don't think that he would go for any plea, even though maybe, I don't know. I guess it's hard to say, because when you have the lawyers in the room telling you this is the best choice, that might change your mind. But I think from my gut instinct is he's always had that, if I didn't do it, I'm not going to say I did it anything wrong attitude.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, because he's maintained that, for forever. I didn't do it, and I'm not going to say that I did it or anything like that. So, would I do it? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what Kathleen may know that that we potentially don't know. That I guess it would depend, really, coming at this point in time, if she was able to get a hearing.
Right.
And just as we've talked about before, we never know what's going to can happen in a hearing, because stuff can really go weird and in your favor or against you. I don't know. That's tough. He's my age. He's a little bit younger than me, but you got to think about, unless he's going to live to be 130, he's probably got more years behind him than he's got in front of him. So you got to think about that too. And you want to spend those years potentially on the outside fighting for your innocence and being able to go back to court and say, look here, dudes, this is what happened, and I can prove it, clear my name. And by the way, give me a couple $1,000,000 for all this crap that you guys did. You got to look at it on those terms. I would have to look at it on those terms too. Like I said, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Adam Basil's case out of Tennessee. Have you heard about that one, Jeff? I'm pretty sure Kel has.
Just remind me again what it was.
He was wrongfully convicted of murdering this guy. It's just a big cockamamie bullcrap story, but he didn't. The investigation was done so bad. There was a lot of people, that they wouldn't relent off the truth, especially while he was in there, and he couldn't, really act in his own best behalf. He accepted the Alfred plea to get out, but then once he got out, he's worked night and day to clear his name. And I'd have to look it up exactly where it's at now. I was keeping up with that case, but I haven't lately. But
right,
I know that
that's gonna.
So, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that sounds a lot like the Memphis 3 case as well. They all took the plea just to help Damien especially get off the death row, but they're still working harder than ever while they're out to find their justice and for the justice of the 3 murdered children. So, yeah, it's an interesting. It's definitely an interesting deal that you can make. And I agree with everything everyone said, and especially Shandy, who said age is a factor. And with all the support that Stephen could get out here with supporters and the people that have been there, I don't think money would be an issue. At some stage, you have to consider, is money really worth the freedom? And if we've already seen that, some of us believe that it was money that put him in there. It was a driving motive for them to keep that tunnel vision on him. So if you remove that money issue from them, that burden that they have hanging over them, would that kind of, in a sense, take away that threat that they'll come back after you again if you just backed away and just, carried on behind the scenes in the real world? Again, this is jumping to conclusions because there's no evidence, period, that this plea is even going to ever happen. I just wanted to it's been brought up. I just thought it'd be an interesting flow on to see what people are thinking.
Yeah, it's a hard question, isn't it? Because, Stephen's getting older, but he has, stuck his ground right from the get-go, not guilty, not guilty. Why is he going to say he's guilty to something he isn't? But it's your whole life you're thinking of, and, with time ticking on, you know, and someone suggested in the comments, you know, there's GoFundMe pages and he could probably get a Netflix deal. You know, he could get some money out of it to live comfortably for the rest of his life, I suppose. But do you commit to saying that you're guilty to something that you're not? He's really big for that, isn't he? Otherwise, he would have taken a deal in the first place.
Yeah, probably. But you know, you have to look at your life, you know, and he's got a fiance now, and I don't know where that's at. Realistically, I really don't know.
No, me either.
And I have to think about it on those terms as well. We have to consider that. I don't know.
It's an interesting question.
It is.
I would only add that would taking that deal that you guys have hypothetically laid out there, would it have any negative effect potentially on Brendan's case? Because I could see how there would be a tendency to say, no, not if this is going to seal my guilt and it's going to be harder for Brendan to win an appeal. I don't know if that would have any effect, but that would be a consideration that I would probably put in before making any deals, right?
I just don't see how it could really, because Brendan was convicted on words and words alone. They've got nothing on him other than that, just words. So I just don't see.
I mean, I agree with you. I just think like that would be the only consideration is be like, well, it's just, yeah. Okay.
Well, I don't know, because one, they were tried different, and secondly, I think there's a little bit of misunderstanding here. He wouldn't actually be accepting guilt in terms of admitting guilt. He's actually allowed to maintain his innocence in this plea. He's allowed to maintain his innocence. What he's subject to is the fact that he's basically saying, I don't want to fight anymore. I'm over fighting. I know I'm innocent, but with everything you've got against me and the way that I don't want to have to go back to trial. So I'm going to take this plea so it ends it. I get to go home. I get to maintain my innocence, but I just don't have to fight anymore in the system, within the system. So I can carry on if I choose to out there. However, you're also letting go any limitations for any civil suits, because you're then saying that that there is no one liable for your wrongful conviction. Even though you're claiming you're innocent, it's still seen in the law that the case is over. You're also making, by taking that plea, is you're not opening up the can of worms for law enforcement to then have to reopen the case. By you taking that plea, the case remained closed. So they don't have to do any more investigation.
Thank you for straightening me out on that. Thank you.
So the state, in effect, is also giving up a huge measure as well. They're saying, well, you know, if we go to trial, he could win and walk and sue the hell out of us, right? So they're also giving up a measure of that control. So like I said, it's dancing on the edge of a knife is really what it's doing. Everybody walks away with blood on them, basically. It's just the only way I can describe it.
Well, that's really a fun little discussion. I appreciate that question coming in from Shandy, I think it was.
I just want to squeeze in one more thing, though. I think it would be interesting, though, when you had brought in the whole Brendan comparison, like how it would fit him in. It's funny enough because let's say theoretically Kathleen Zellner gets a hearing and Tom Skowinski gets in, and he's on the record could be credible. They could consider it credible that they want to go to a retrial, and that's usually when the alpha plea would be put through, would considered from the state to Kathleen and Stephen, because it's, you know, they'll go, well, you've now got Tom Skowinski, you may have this and that. Let's just plead out now and end this so we don't have to, you know, go through this trial. And like J. Jack said, they have something to risk too. If he goes to trial and wins, then the civil suit would follow shortly after. So the reason why I think it'd be interesting if the alpha plea came in, I think it would only come in is if a hearing gets warranted and it goes in Kathleen's favor. Because if the evidentiary hearing goes great, the next step usually is in a sense is a trial. So if you pass that kind of subject of hurdles, then you move forward in the process. Of course, the state can throw in all their appeals and stuff, but I think that's where like I said, if Tom Skowinski gets through in an evidentiary hearing, it ripples effect in favor of Brendan as well, because then maybe Nyrider and Drizzen could then use that same, evidence, new evidence, because that's what it would be, Tom Skowinski, in a motion for Brendan as well, because it's already in the court, has passed through that level of credibility. So if anything, that could get to Brendan's side as well and go, well, you have a gentleman here who's now deemed credible in an evidentiary hearing, who's now, a great witness for the defense team, who actually states in one of his emails that he identifies it not being Brendan Dassey. So they could then offer Brendan the same deal and go, you boys, here's an alpha plea, you may take it or not.
Hugh, go ahead, Kath.
Oh, there was just a couple of good comments. Hugh Fraser's gone, if Stephen Avery were to go the Alfred route, could anyone else sue the state, example, like his brothers or the salvage yard? And Maz also said, and how would Kathleen recoup her money, though?
Well, I'll answer that last one first. From my perspective, she wouldn't. It would be, and that's the risk that you take. When you take on a case like this for a lawyer in her position, there are others that have money that are willing to, this contingency thing. She agreed, knowing that she may not walk away with anything, and in fact, out $1 million or so. And then to answer Hugh's question, unless they can prove specific damages in a civil suit, in a federal lawsuit, no. They could try, but I think it would get thrown out of court. That's my opinion.
Well, interesting. I didn't expect that. So that was a fun little question brought in. Thanks again, Shandy, for that. You guys, Kath or anybody else, did you see any other questions coming through that you wanted to hit? We all caught up?
No, I've got something crossed my mind the other day. It was just like a random thought. I was thinking about why didn't law enforcement ever try and make a theory or question Brendan or anything about Teresa being cut up? They go on about that they'd cut her, and they go on about the shooting of her, but they don't ever go on about the cutting. Why is that? They didn't even ask Brendan about it.
Well, it's like that same old thing we always say. If a cop or a lawyer don't want to know the answer to a question, they don't ask it. Because the danger is, once you get the answer, you're stuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's exactly why they knew she had been dismembered. They knew it. They knew it very early on too.
Yeah, but they never pushed it, did they? They never, because they didn't have the actual crime scene where it initially happened as well. So
well,
I know, but it just never gets mentioned except in court.
That's right. Nope, they didn't. I think it's because they didn't.
What Brendan said, he's saying a lot of activity went in, negative activity went along in the house. Of course, there was no DNA, but then out to the garage where she was shot, 10 times, and all of this is supposed to have happened. But then, in court, it says that she was dismembered, but yet they never even ask Stephen or her about that.
Brush over that part. We don't want to get into that. But I think at one point, in one of Brendan's stories, one of his versions, they throw her on the fire without chopping her up.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like, but they
it's
don't
ridiculous.
say that they break the bones apart after. He doesn't bring up that. You know what I mean? So someone did something, but it's not in that, right? They just walk right over that part. They don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, that's right. They throw it out there in court, but then they haven't even asked anyone about it previously. We're just going to throw that out there. This is what happened to her, but no one ever mentions or is asked about it. I don't know. I just thought that was just so weird.
It is.
Well, I think it's intentional. That was very intentional.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a conversation with I don't know if this is on topic or just a little slightly off, but you mentioned the hair and cutting of the hair. I've had a discussion with someone in the real world where I live who believes in Stephen's guilt. And it's a good conversation because we bounce off each other. And the one thing they always said to me was, I'm like, oh, they framed him. There's evidence that, in my opinion, that there's evidence that indicate that there's some sort of tampering, the excess amount of DNA on certain items and locations it was found and durations that it was found. And the one thing they turned to me and said was, and they're like, okay, so if you really believe in all this, planting scenario, and their question to me was, if you believe that they used Brendan to plant item FL to create a narrative months after the fact, then when, Brendan said that they cut her hair, why didn't they plant her hair then? And they said, because remember, they had it. In fact, it was one of the very first things that they had. They took hair from her hairbrush on the 3rd. So why then didn't they utilize that kind of evidence to create more of a planting earlier on so it didn't look so suspicious? So why are they choosing to do it harder than it could have been for them? And I have to admit that I think a lot of us ask these kind of questions now and then. It's, why do they do one thing yet they don't do another? For example, why didn't they, for whoever killed Teresa Halbach, if they're planting against Stephen, why was the focus so much on making Stephen welcome her into her world? Why not introduce her to his world, like putting her in his trailer? Especially if, you're the state and you have to stand there with a red face and sit there and go, yeah, we didn't find one speck of DNA in the trailer, and you're really pushing it. It's almost embarrassing for them because they're like, well, duh, because that's not where it happened. And it goes against everything that, your narrative is. So as like you said, Kath, why didn't they bring up, the mutilation, as they would have known early on? That was part of the narrative, the truth. And J. Jack's answered it perfect. You don't ask questions you don't want the answers to, but then it kind of goes into all the rest of it. It's just like that ripple effect in terms of this case that it makes you wonder what their strategy was early on. And they're like, when they sat down and I'm not even saying sat down, but when they were discovering things, if they weren't a part of it, where did they draw the line and go, this is out of the norm, this doesn't fit here? So little things like that.
Right. Well, it sounded like Austin Powers, Dr. Evil. Right. I didn't mean it like that. As always, you guys bringing the heat in the chat group, in the chat. Appreciate those questions. Let's see if there's anything else that came through. Other than that, unless you guys have something that pops up, maybe we just move right into picture time, Jack.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that.
Hopefully, I can share your screen from here. I hope that is a.
Well, pictures have been today, Jack.
Well, we're just continuing on with that gigantic folder of photos that Henbury got. Where the hell are they at?
Well, yeah, we've covered. I guess we covered a lot of the quarry and the evidence on the Avery salvage yard. We covered a lot of the evidence collected. We saw the area around the burn barrel. We've really been through, I think, a lot of the property. A lot of the property was covered in those previous pictures.
There we go. That should pop in there.
And thank you, Henbury, for getting the pictures.
And thank you, Henbury.
Yes.
You guys talk for just a moment. I got to take just a quick little mute here. I'll be right back.
No worries. I'm just really stoked that this is going to work and was able to share Jack's screen. What have we got here? This is a picture of the pit and the dog house. I mean, the other thing is, like, people talk about if the fire was that big, it may have started the fire with the propane tank, but from this vantage point, it looks like Bear's doghouse is even closer. The dog would have got burnt up, before that. So, yeah, I just don't see it happening here.
It's really weird that Stephen would even have a fire that close to that tank anyway, just in general. Don't you reckon?
It's hard to tell from here, to be honest, how far away that is. I guess it's not a good practice. I mean, but I think when Stephen was having fires, usually it was in that burn barrel in the front yard. But yeah, interesting.
I don't know. It's a very interesting thing that you just said that, Kath, because the boys and everything were always talking. We hear it on a few phone calls that they were wanting this bonfire at Stevens, and we can hear Mara in the background talking about Blaine and Brendan and Mara, and I think Chuck that was saying no, not while Barb's not home, and there was a bit of a situation that was on the call of the 3rd, and so in a sense, like, I get that, like, why would you have a bonfire there so close to that tank? But in a sense, was it even as big as what we think it would have been? Because that area grew the moment the law enforcement started to use bloody diggers to create this bigger area of burn site. Maybe it was always maintained a little bit more than what we see now visibly now in these pictures.
I think so. I think it's a definite possibility. I'm with you on that. That we don't really know what that burn pit looked like before the cops got to it at all.
Well, we've got the one picture from Trooper Reese. It's on the 6th, but this is on the 11th. If you look over here on the left-hand side of the screen, this is on the 11th. So this is well after the damage is done, the pit's destroyed. So anyway, yeah, this is I started back really pretty much. This was the last photo we showed 2 weeks ago. So we'll move on. And that's a better photo showing the pit's been dug up and filled in and everything's gone. I don't know what all this stuff here is on the ground is. Just what? Sorry, didn't mean to do that. I don't know why that's not. I apologize because my settings are different than what they were before. I had everything like I wanted it. There we go. I was trying to zoom into that. I don't know what the hell that is. Some kind of wheel or tire off of a bicycle that's half destroyed. That's what it looks like. And, we can see back here in the back they had lights up. Which a little surprising they hadn't taken down yet, but they hadn't. I just wonder here. Okay, never mind. I thought that was something. I thought these vehicles were something else. And I'm not sure who this officer is. Here at the Bears little dog area.
He's got his little bucket there.
Yep.
So
bear.
Yeah. In that bucket, it looked like little tiny pieces of gravel.
I think it's dog food. Actually.
No, not that bucket. The white bucket on the outside.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It could have been gravel. It's possible.
It looked like it.
I did notice that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a better photo inside Bear's little sleeping area. Speaking of Bear, and there's this just a huge irritation. We've been talking about the dogs and reading with the crew about Bear not being handled and keeping them from the back part of the property there. And you've got, I don't know how many dog handlers you got nearby, and you can't get one dog off the lot. Sorry, I don't buy it. I'm not believing you.
Yeah, it's like the first thing they'd do. If the dog became a threat to anybody at all, they would have just called a vet in or the ranger, and Bear would have been just taken care of straight away.
Yeah, or just get a couple of those handlers up there to take care of it.
It feels like they wanted to slow roll it. They wanted to have control of that property as long as possible. It seems to me, so they could overwork it. And just like that picture alone demonstrates how they were going about this. They weren't collecting it with normal collection methods, with small amounts where you are slow. They're taking it with a skidster. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
I thought they were actually done by now, but I guess not. This like 10 o'clock in the morning on the 11th. I really thought they were done with their scraping and whatever. Guess not. Taking more out, which is I don't know. The timing just doesn't add up really well for me.
I mean, they have taken a lot of soil out now.
Well, I mean, the area was covered up. We saw the photos from earlier. The area was covered. Now they're digging it out again. Why? You zoom in on this. Clearly pointing at something which is tiny. Whatever. Some little small piece of bone of some type. I think he's actually going to pick it up.
This picture has always got me because of how bright white it was from that. Well, I don't think that's the same piece, at least from not the same angle.
I just want to address
how pristine and bright white it was.
I just want to address the comment in here. And apologies if I butcher this name, but Ronika Clack says that they're sorry, but the coroner not being a part of this investigation is a problem for me. How does the Court of Appeals not recognize this? That's really interesting because I think we all are in agreement here because we're looking at these pictures and we're seeing them digging holes and picking up bones and pointing to bones. Yet if the coroner had come in, they have a different measure of scale. They would have gridded out that area, would have treated it like a burial area and really preserved damaging or disturbing this crime scene and I'm saying that in quotation marks, but you know what I mean? Like, if you're alleging that this is the primary burn location, why are you treating it like this? This is, you know, they could have created way more damage than discovering what they were meant to be there doing. So I agree. They weren't, and I get that, you know, there's others that push against it and go, well, you know, a coroner is there to find a body. And in Ken Kratz's words, kick a body, they're dead, they walk away. But not really. They have a duty, and their duty would have been to thoroughly document and keep that crime scene protected.
And you know what skills they don't have, they have, you know, access to people that do have those skills that they bring in, and everything gets filtered to the coroner. And
I mean, if it's not enough for you, the line that gets me is like, you guys have such a great point. Yes, she should have been allowed on. And that alone is strong. But the fact that they threatened to arrest her if she stepped foot on the property, if that doesn't scream alarm bells, I don't know what does, folks. I don't know what
Yep.
does. Here's
Just
the
wondering in
delicate
my
work
mind,
of delicate work of Calumet County with Manitowoc's supervision. Look at this. Ridiculous.
apologize for keep going back to the metadata here, but again, this is dated the 11th. I really thought they were done by this time. I just wondering if the metadata has been messed with. I don't know. I'd have to read some reports again because I just don't remember. Maybe they did, you know, because they left the following day. They left on the 12th. That was the last day.
You know, rumor has it has a really good point. Didn't they say that the coroner wasn't called because of the lawsuit? And it's like, this is the thing. They always have an excuse for everything, don't they?
Yes.
Don't they? It's just, it's kind of a bullshit line, but
Yeah,
they
so
always
the
have
excuse,
everywhere you go.
the excuse fits for when it's convenient for them. So it was inconvenient for, you know, the lawsuit was effective and against this coroner who actually had nothing to do with the 1985 case to begin with, yet they totally ignored that Manitowoc officers like, you know, Andy Colburn and James Link, who were a part of the depositions and was a part of it, was still able to maintain a presence in this, you know, crime. And yet they're the ones that are around things that are being discovered. Yet the coroner, who has no accountability for the 1985 case, is pushed out. It is very odd. I completely agree. And just in terms of statuses, isn't the coroner actually a higher rank than all of them put together? So the people that were threatening to have her arrested, she theoretically could have turned the tables and, you know, put down orders on them, being the fact that her status was higher.
Yep, under certain conditions.
It's a crisis of power, right? Like, who's actually gonna do it? Are you gonna try to arrest the sheriff and find someone that's gonna go with handcuffs and arrest the sheriff, or is the sheriff gonna try to arrest you? And what's gonna happen when you try to arrest each other? You know what I mean? It's a crazy situation.
It is. She would have had to have involved probably the state police if she was going to take action. Of course, I think that she probably knew she would have been under real threat. I mean, real threat at that point. But now you have to remember, if the metadata on these everything I've shown tonight, if it's true and correct, there's no Manitowoc around because Kratz ran them off on the morning of the 9th. We have no reports past November 8th. It doesn't mean they're not there, but as far as we know, they were ran off on the morning of the 9th. So this is DCI, probably Calumet. The state troopers were still there. They were there the entire time. And I'm not sure when Grand Chute finished, but I think Grand Chute may have been finished by the 11th this day, or maybe the 10th. I don't recall. But Manitowoc supposedly was gone. They weren't on site. Oh yeah, here we go. I'm pretty sure that's DCI, right? Yeah, it is. I can see it there on his jacket, on that decal patch or whatever. And the two Bobcats they brought in, this smaller one that he's in, and then there's a bigger one in back there. And they obviously, we've seen the photos. They used these here. They took them over, through the quarry area, down that trail. I don't know. I just have to wonder what they went back in here for and were digging this area. What were they doing? I don't know. I'm going to stop questioning it now because I don't.
Taking pictures, or were they just taking pictures?
Well, they definitely moved some material out of there. There's no doubt because they piled it back here and back here.
But you know what I mean? Like we've seen that before, where they're just taking pictures.
Oh, busy work. Yeah.
Just busy work. You know what I mean? Like we don't. We need to make it look like we look for more evidence. So go out and look for more evidence. I don't know. It's hard to really know with these crooked SOBs. Excuse my language.
That's what I'm saying. By the 11th, I thought it was a done deal. Everything was finished.
And there's no reason to change the metadata. Like, who are you going to fool? Like, oh no, we did this on the 9th, but let's somehow change the metadata to 11th. It wouldn't make any sense to do that. If you're going to change the metadata and try to be sneaky, which I don't think you can even easily. You'd have to do it on every individual photo and reformat it. Like, it would be ridiculous. So it had to have been on the 11th. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be accurate. Why wouldn't it be?
You can see how much material they've moved out of here from the very first pictures I showed it out where it's all nice and flat and smooth.
It looks like it's run by the Redont, Badgerland company here. It looks like they're pulling aggregate. I mean, they took a lot. Yeah, look at those big piles. Plus all of it that's underneath there. Yeah, right there. Just spread
Okay.
out.
All right. Just for one, in any case in history that anyone's ever looked into or watched or anything, have you ever seen anything like this? When they're looking for bones?
Never. Not one time.
Never. It is ridiculous. Look, 2 bobcats, massive piles of dirt. Like, forensics go in there with gloves on and photos getting taken every step of the way. They do the sifting on the spot. It's cordoned off with the crime scene tape. It's professional. This is a joke.
It's destruction.
It is.
That's what I see.
Destruction at its finest.
Yep.
Right. On purpose. On purpose.
Yeah. On purpose. That's what I see. Hey, looky here. This is either early or late. Let me get the metadata on this.
All the real evidence that they found was basically, laid on a silver platter for them anyway.
Yeah, it's almost like somebody was just dropping stuff for people to find.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my theory.
5:13 p.m. So yeah, it's that time of the year. Yeah, it's getting dark.
Hey, keep that up just for a second. We know. What did you say? 5:13. This one's fine too because it's about the same time. You can see in the picture. Just to give people, it changes about 1 minute every day. Because I know this because I just recently looked into it. So if you said it's the 11th, so it would look like this. About 10 minutes, 12 minutes earlier, or 11, 12 minutes earlier on the 31st. Or, I'm sorry, later. It would be a little bit later. So, or earlier. Whatever, you see my point that this is what it would look like at dusk. At what time did you say? 5. So just to keep in mind what time it got dark, because to put things into perspective, I think that this really helps. It's only 10 minutes difference from this photo to the 31st.
Yeah, so say 5:25.
Like, was she driving in the dark at 4:30? Not quite, but by
5:30, 5:25, 5:30, and especially if this is bright sunshine day. It's cloudy up here in the upper Midwest, I'm telling you, it's dim or dark.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't think it was overly cloudy that day. If I remember, it was. I mean, we've all gone through the weather reports, I think, at one point or another. I don't remember it being overly cloudy or anything. So, anyway. Well, here's another. Now, is that the Avery's?
Yeah, I think this is one of their
Yeah.
skidsters.
Yeah. I think these seem really familiar. Like, I feel like I've just been through these just a few months back. And now this is just like, I guess there you go. Take a picture of that hydraulic oil because that might be blood, or it's probably hydraulic oil. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know why they took some of these photos. It's so dumb.
Well, you got to get paid, right?
Yeah, that's right. That time not going to make itself. Take some photos, guys. Oh, I don't know what this is. Yeah, there are a few photos in here that are. You can see that this next photo it pops out, and there's something like that. I don't know what that photo is of those, but it's dim, whatever the hell it is. I can't see it. No flash going.
Well, can you zoom in? Oh, it's that room. It's
It
this
is that
room with the
room.
lights off.
It is.
Yeah. Somebody's like, "Oh, I can't see anything without the flash."
Well, yeah, this is where they're. Yeah, they're going through and sifting. Let's take a look at the date now. See what we got. File info. So here we are, December the 19th. At looks like 11 in the morning. What that is, some kind of burnt something.
I mean, when you got closer, I couldn't tell, but it looked like a cigarette lighter from far away, or one of those adapters where you go to USB.
Yeah.
Like cigarette lighter to USB adapter. That's what the shape looks like from here. But when you come in, it's so melted that I don't know if you could determine that.
Probably not. Hey, there's your buddy. There's your pal.
Which one? The guy on the left? Fact Bender? Who is that? Yeah, I know.
That's
Uyghur.
That's Uyghur.
Yeah, he's working hard. Who's the guy on the left? Is that Facty? Fact Bender. That is him.
I think it is. I think it is him. Yeah, there's no eyebrows.
They're always together. Link and Colburn go together like Shalana Lama Ding Dong, and so do these two.
Say that again.
It's from Greece. It's a reference to the play Greece. Hey, I believe what's her name just passed away in the last little bit. Olivia Newton-John.
Olivia Newton-John. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What a wonderful entertainer. Just loved her.
Here we go. Can you zoom in on what he's working on? Because I always think like in his head he's just going like, "We whistle while we work." He's not really doing anything. It's getting dirty,
Well, I have to think about from a investigative standpoint how much training he had in anthropology. That's just me.
I think he's desperate to find something.
I mean, he's an investigator, right? And I'm sure he's probably had some, training of some type, but it probably was a very short course type thing that doesn't give him any expertise in this kind of thing. Eisenberg wasn't there. As far as I know, there was no anthropologist there. So you've got,
Wait.
Go ahead.
Where is this soil coming from anyway? It looks very dark. It doesn't really look like the soil that's come out of the pit.
Great point, Kath. Point to Kath. When did we see anything that sooty or dark or black being pulled out of that burn pit? I saw white rock, brown mud. I never saw. This looks like it came out of somewhere where someone was actually burned.
It's like a dark terracotta sort of soil.
Great point.
On Avery's. Yeah. So this looks like good soil actually. Look how rich that.
It does. It does look
there
rich.
was some decent looking soil, wasn't there?
Quarry.
Cuss Road.
Yep.
Cuss Road.
I really wish we had those photos from that area, but again, we're blocked from having those. That's really dark.
Yes, it is.
Great point, Kath. It is super dark. Maybe we want to pop back to a couple of those in the pit.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Just to give me another look, because now we got something to compare to. That's all black, like soot. Like they pulled it out of a chimney or something. You know what I mean? Look at his gloves. They're not muddy. They're sooty.
I'll go back to...
I just never noticed that before until just then. When I was looking at the soil, I thought that doesn't even look like the same color soil that we were just looking at previously at a couple of photos ago. I could be wrong though, but let's have a look.
Yeah.
That's why we do this. Image 1882. Let me pop back here to kind of what we started back here.
That's true.
That is exactly why we do this picture time, because we are trying to find inconsistencies or little tips that might lead us into another direction. So
yeah, I'm just gonna have to scan backwards. So bear with me. I'm not trying to make anybody seasick.
Okay, I'll just try to count. 1, 2.
Hey, why isn't this going backwards here? What the hell's going
3.
on?
I can take this moment in time and say that really appreciate you guys joining us, and super fun to have everybody in chat. And hey, it looks like what do we got? Anybody new? Serena, thanks for joining us. PJ, Bethany, Mystic Jinx, nice to see you. Is it Oak Island night? Don't give us any spoilers. Bethany and Most Call, Veronica, great to have you, and Shandy, saw you earlier. All right, you guys. JJ Falls, nice to see you, buddy. Rumor has it.
I'm gonna start here, and you guys just stop me. I'll just start slowly going back forward again.
Can you just zoom in to the dirt color of the dirt pile?
Now, this is kind of what's on top here. So yeah, I mean, there's not really. It's kind of bleached out there, and it would be, I guess.
I don't see any black. Look at his boots. That's black.
Well, yeah, they're gonna have to. Yeah,
that's definitely a completely different color.
Yeah, well, you wait and see here. What I remember seeing this a minute ago. I didn't really comment on it, but
still not black. Or
nope. But now I want you to notice this area here. You see this blackish underneath?
Okay.
I can see it. These black spots. They're going to go down below this.
All right, awesome. It's possible, right?
See? See?
Can you get in? I mean, it's a little, but okay, it's a little darker, but
it's still not
a lot of matter. It's not a lot of
not
matter,
yet.
You know,
not yet.
Okay. Okay.
No. And
but
even
the
more.
Further that you go down, the less likely it has anything to do with a crime, because he would have burned it on top. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Okay, continue. Yeah. You're right. You're finding black. We asked for black. You're finding a little bit of black. I think the amount of black matter that you found, and I think it might be an organic. I don't know if it's soot, but it doesn't look like what we saw in those pictures with the detective Uyghur.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I think the photo of the detectives, it's like a rich, mulchy type of soil, probably found somewhere completely different to here. But it doesn't say...
It is darker. I mean, I will give you that.
Oh,
that
yeah,
looks a lot darker.
Now.
Yeah.
But why are they rummaging through soil that's down that deep?
Especially, and it was already covered up. That's what I'm saying. When we first started looking tonight at photos, this whole area was flat.
That's right.
And they dug it back out.
They keep digging up. Yeah. So.
But hang on a minute. It is, so those detectives going through that soil, that is the soil from the pit, or where are they saying it's from?
Yeah, they're saying it's from here.
Right. Yeah, I'm not buying that. I reckon I'd like to see a side-by-side photo. I'm still not convinced that that's that soil. Sorry.
They might have to. Well, the other thing to keep in mind, to be fair, just to keep fair and balanced, is that fluorescent lights are going to give a different color than natural light. So let's just
They
be
will.
fair on that point.
Yeah, but
But
it's
I
the
still think it's a
texture.
stretch.
The
I
texture
still
too.
think if you look at his gloves look like he had his hands up the chimney. You know what I mean? Not in that kind of dirt. So
Really
where are they
rich
getting
soil.
this?
Yeah,
Where are they
it's the
getting this
texture
dark,
as
sooty?
well. If you look at the texture, it's completely different.
Right. Agreed.
Another pretty good. This is a pile of what they've been digging out over here. I think we're going to find. We can move forward here. This still here is not as dark as what we saw in the room. Of course, I know the light is going to be a little bit different, so we'll give them a couple of shades. But I think there's a tarp that comes into play here. No, not in that one.
Yeah, I mean, Serena brings up a good point here in the chat about the recording that, there's a body west of Avery's, right? And so and it's not on one occasion, it's multiple occasions. And Cuss Road is a big question mark. What was found there? That, the dogs were kind of going over. There's so much about Cuss. I mean, I don't want to get started. I want to focus on what we're on. But I think you bring up a really good point that there's some funny business, and like what I said, if there's dark soil and you want, well, like in that foresty area where things have been decaying for hundreds of years, right? That's where you're going to find good soil, right? And so anyway, that's where my mind went. But that really doesn't mean that Cuss Road is involved at all. It could be soil from a completely different place, So we just got to keep our minds and our wits about us.
That looks dark.
They're losing their light here a little bit, so we can do a little bit better comparison, I think, file info. So it is now, see, it's going on 4 o'clock. So it's sun's beginning to get a little light or a little dim in the sky now. So, I'm moving on.
Yeah, let's cruise back to where we were with the Uyghur stuff, because now it's fresh in our mind what that looks like.
Moving forward. Now here's one. That's some pretty damn dark stuff there, guys. Look at his gloves.
Look at his gloves, right? Look at his white gloves. You know what white is. You know what? I mean, look at his tone of his flesh, of his skin. That's a tanner, outside.
Hang on.
Look at his face.
What if they're going through the top soil of where Stephen had burnt previous stuff?
Say that again, Kath.
What if they're going through the top soil of the burn pit where Stephen had previously burnt? That might be what they're going through.
It could very well be. It could be. I mean, this could have come out of a burn barrel for all we know.
Here's the thing. We have to consider, remember our dates here. So this is on December the 19th, and I think this is the second time they went through the second sifting, whatever. Because remember, Eisenberg already had the box of bones way back in November. So this is another pass. I can't remember exactly which stuff it was that they went through again, but they did, which is weird. Why would you be going through it again? Not do it good the first time? A little bit more light here, but that stuff is. I tend to agree. Well, I mean, this stuff looks like it came out of a burn barrel. It doesn't look like soil at all.
Nope. What do you guys think in chat? This is a really good one. I know that the picture quality isn't the best, but
that's a big piece of old log or root off a tree. A leaf.
Yeah, I guess it could be.
That's a leaf off a oak tree. No, I don't.
I tried to turn the brightness up on my phone. I can't tell. Oh,
but
yeah.
Everybody's seen that type of leaf. I'm not sure if the tree's in the area, but
Well, how many leaves are laying around in this huge fire that he's got going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is pretty grainy here. It's not. It's a little out
And
of
I was
focus
just gonna
too.
say
but-
that. It's just gonna. Oh, grainy. I was thinking the material because Calf, I think, said earlier, like it just doesn't look like it's the same consistency or the same texture. I think you said.
Yeah, I think this came out of a burn barrel, or yeah, that's what I think. Oh, this is interesting.
Give us a little zoom, maybe. Look at that leaf.
Oh, there has to
Like
be
that
some
leaf you were
documents
talking about.
on
Shape
what they're
on the
looking
top
at.
right, Calf. Is that what you saw before?
With that brown
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
the leaf. That doesn't look like a leaf. That looks like I don't think it's
No,
the same thing. That looks like a piece of metal.
Rusted,
Yep.
like out of a burn barrel.
Yeah.
like all of
Yeah.
these things look like metal. Now that you say that, they all look like
Mhm.
metal.
Yeah, that looks
It's
like what come out of a burn barrel.
Yeah, dude.
And and that makes sense.
But they're not
Because-
representing these as this came out of the pit, are they?
No,
I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
so.
That's
No.
not
They're
what I
just
was saying
pictures
a
at
minute
this
ago.
point, right? Yeah.
There's got to be documentation to say what they're sifting through at the time. I just haven't read it. I might have a little quick look on my computer and have a. Oh, look, he's got the burn barrel right there. It's a bit obvious.
Look at that.
Barrel
It's
number
a little
4.
obvious. Yeah, look at that. So, mystery solved.
Yeah.
Yeah, some pretty dark stuff. But again, you would think by this point in time, the sifting would have been a done deal.
Overtime, man. Overtime. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Manitowoc County's going to pay for all this overtime. Resift
and they
go through
right
it again.
through and they did. They paid through the nose. Yeah, there's the barrel right there. At least one that they were working with. Made this guy get in the floor to do his thing. He's like, get down there. Go on.
Well, the other barrel had number 4 written on it. I can't really see a number on this one.
X.
Ooh, X. X marks the spot of where
I don't know.
you're going to find something.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Club car. I think this is Dolores's golf cart, isn't it?
Either way, I'm pretty jealous of whoever's it is. It's nice. Kind of retro. Like it.
Dolores's I think one was white, one was blue. I think Barb had one too, didn't she?
I thought Barb's was a darker color, if I remember correctly. That's a nice little. Yeah, that's definitely Maz. Gotta be. We went through these already. Like look at the dog, right? They point at it, right? Oh, if that was blood, dude, they would have been all over that shit. So that proves it ain't blood that ain't related to anybody.
They're pointing at that. They're calling that a pubic hair, I'm sure.
Oh, I think we read this. Pubic hairs from the golf cart.
Oh, was it? Are you kidding me?
Sounds familiar.
Sounds familiar.
No, I'm serious. I'm pretty sure they wanted to claim that pubic hair. There's no proof of anything. I'm sure the
What that
dog.
looks
Come
like
on.
to me? I was just gonna say it looks like a dog that jumped up onto the golf cart, because that's probably exactly what happened. Because Ma brought the dog, and the dog, come up here with me.
That's someone's eyebrow hair.
Or a dog. But,
I hope that's not a lot.
Eyebrow hair.
If that's an eyebrow hair, they need to go to a barber like now.
I feel so attacked right now. Why are you guys saying that about me? No, I'm just kidding.
Fassbender's crying the entire. That's mean again. I've got to stop.
Yeah.
Poor Fassbender.
All I want to do is hang shit on them all day. I'm with you, Jack, but you got to resist the temptation.
I know.
Okay, so basically they're just taking photos of nothing.
I don't know what this is. That dark one, I have no idea.
Probably the same photo, but without light, because the moron's like, I'll use the flash. And then, whoa. Definitely a crime here.
They measured it.
Ruler. Let's get the ruler.
They've
Come
measured
on,
this
dude.
oil. Another dark one? No idea. 2 dark ones. Okay. These
Finally,
were
they
found.
collected that. Yeah, we know where those were found, out in the driveway. Yeah.
That's right. Remember, we looked at this a couple weeks ago. But as far as I know,
But it's
they
like,
were never.
you know, as
They
far
could
as I
have
know,
come out of
Teresa
a.
didn't wear glasses. So if it's
No.
not Teresa's
Carmen did-
glasses, then it
Carmen-
doesn't. Carmen
Carmen
Boatwell?
did the-
Oh my God! What?
Yeah. Pretty sure. Isn't that right, Calf? Didn't she wear glasses like these?
Take it easy, guys. It's
I know.
going,
Yes, you did.
this thing's going to hell in a handbasket. No, I'm just kidding.
What are you
What were you gonna
laughing
say,
at?
Cap?
Pardon?
What were you gonna say, Cap?
Nothing. I was just saying, yeah, Carmen did wear glasses, but and then I said, what are you laughing at? She's losing it. In
I
the
thought
back.
it was really funny that you would bring in. You're talking about Carmen Boatwell's glasses. Is that what you said?
That's what Jack asked.
Yeah, it's funny. That's what I was laughing at. Like, I mean, like, yeah, I guess, but wow, we really gotta make a conspiracy now. It's gonna be
Well, I mean
That'd be a
all
hard one.
that all started, way back in 2016, with these glasses and this little bit of look-alike and age-wise from Teresa and Carmen. It's like no.
I mean, and
Not
Colburn
related.
called. Colburn was looking like, hey, is that the missing person that I'm looking for? You know what I mean? He wanted to make
Yeah,
sure that
it is very weird the fact that they're same age and same build and same description, and Carmen happened to pass away around the same time Teresa's missing. It was all.
I mean, I guess like I don't want to be like the devil's advocate because I think that's Kel's role. No, I'm just kidding, Kel. But you have to remember, like, how many people live in the area? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of 25-year-old women living in the area. How often do they OD? Like, is it that it sounds crazy because it's like, you think that you live in a small town, but there's a lot of people. And, I'm not saying that it's odds on has to happen, but it is weird. It is a weird time frame. It certainly is. But
how on earth
has anyone ever been able to connect anything other than that Colburn phone call saying, is that
Nope.
the dead 25-year-old? Like, I don't think anyone's ever been able to put anything together for that. So I'm like, I'm not saying it's wrong, but even circumstantial evidence, I don't think we have much, so just a theory at that point, right?
Yeah. So how does these are Chuck's, right?
Well,
they came out of the office, out of one of the drawers.
You can't just get yourself a badge. You can't just go to the shop and buy yourself a badge.
They either picked it up in the wrong way, or they were found in some wrecked vehicle or salvage vehicle of some kind. Right?
Can you zoom in, because one of them's a Green Bay and one of them is a man? Yeah, it's a Green Bay 53. Can we ever find out who's 53? It can't be that hard, can it?
That's a great question, Jeff.
It just depends on the agency. Some agencies are resistant to just hand over badge numbers with names. They just won't just necessarily do that.
Especially if it's 53 and you found this in 2006, it was like, that's 25 years ago, 30 years ago. What would they? Yeah, I might look into that. Liberty, Manitowoc County. That's what it says. State of Wisconsin, Deputy Sheriff, Manitowoc County.
Yep. Hey, I guess this is potentially could have been one of Arlen's or whatever. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but why do you have the Brown County one then too? You know what I mean? And those are the two districts, the districts that you spend the most time in. You know what I mean? Like, think about that.
Yep.
Those are the two districts that whoever Avery Salvage Yard, whether it's Chuck or Earl, it's Green Bay or Manitowoc County. Like, Brown County is Green Bay. Those are the two main places. So I've always found this to be, but I also don't think that it necessarily has anything to do with this, with Teresa Halbach. You know what I'm saying? Like, I find it disturbing, and the possibilities of having sheriff's badges and impersonating an officer is not cool. Now, that said, do I know people in the past that I think have had that kind of, I think so. I think I've known people that have had, like, oh, look at this, is a real police badge, They never used it. They never tried to pull someone over, right? So we can't pass judgment too quickly. It's just another one of those.
Well,
It's just creepy. It's weird. And then you know what else? They found it next to a handgun. That's
I'm
the
sorry.
other part. That's the kicker.
I just know Chuck's history. I mean, Earl's got his own issues and problems, but Chuck's got some other more. I mean, well, there are just other problems that are bad. My opinion. It's just an opinion. At least when he was younger, and would he use a badge to get his way? I don't know. Just looking at his history, though, I think he very well might.
I mean, I don't want to speculate on Steven's family too much, but if you were gonna be a tow truck driver and then you had a badge, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could be in a position to catch someone off guard with that, and I think that that's my worst fear with something like that. But we can't assume that something bad happened.
Now, I want you guys to remember this. Kacharsky found the key, but it wasn't linked. Now, don't you ever get that in your brain. It's Kacharsky.
No, it was. Well, he denies it on the stand, and this is the really important point that you're pointing to right here. Is that he denies it on the stand, and they wanted him, and they even got him to put his name on it. But when it came time to say who found the key, he's like, aliens could have done it. I don't know. Anybody could have done it. I didn't. Well, who found it? Well, the key wasn't there before investigator Link was there. The key wasn't there before he was there. So, Kacharsky.
And I hope Colburn's not watching, because these Playboys and stuff are going to drive him mad.
I'm sure Colburn's watching. He's got nothing better to do. Count his poker chips. What are you going to do?
Why are they displaying all the Playboy books? Is that their idea of motive?
Well, it's trying to make him look sicker than look at this sick guy. Look at if you see a stack in the corner of magazines, which you lay them all out, it looks like
He's got 10 Playboys in his room. I mean, God, guys, come on, he did it.
I mean, I think if you were born before 1990, everybody had 10 Playboys. Sorry, it's just the way the world was. And whoever said that the human body was not to be admired.
I was trying to see this name of this magazine, but I can't really read it. I don't know what it is. Moving on.
Okay.
But yeah, these were in the old record cabinet where the key flew out the back of and went sideways. Item 7622. Does anybody recognize this right off the bat? I don't.
Who's this now? Oh, it's a picture from Stevens? Like on the wall
item
or something?
Item 7622. I'm not really sure.
I don't know, but I think I want to take a screenshot of this and maybe try to figure out who it is. Why would they? Can you zoom in on their face again? Definitely Sherry Colhane. I mean, it's just no doubt about it. It's a little joke, guys. Don't take me.
Who are they?
I don't know. Somebody's uncle, aunt and uncle, somebody's friends. It has nothing to do with anything.
That's Jody.
Who's that? Oh, is that Jody?
Mm.
She got a tequila shirt on? Yeah, Jody. Nice. He's got an
IOU note.
I'm not even going to get into it. I just don't know how Steven's lending people money when he's living in Asia.
Well, by that time, I think he was in the trailer.
He actually had a new truck. He was working. Is
that
that
badge
his Ford?
That little badge thing. It said Fox Valley something written on it.
Which badge?
The little name tag, the one before this picture. See, Fox Valley Auto Auction. Well, that's interesting. Okay.
I think
Fox
that
Valley
was because
Auto
he wanted
Auction.
to prove that he went to that odd auction, right? Because there was a question about what he was up to all week after this supposedly happened. And he's like, well, I went to the auction with Chucky in Appleton, and I bet you that's what that is.
Yeah.
Go back one again, please.
Which
If you
photo,
may.
Kel?
The one that we saw the picture of that woman and that man.
You mean Mario and the princess?
Yeah. No, okay, sorry, go forward. Forward one. The one with the note saying I owe Stephen Avery money. Is that dated the 11th of the 4th of 05?
Yep, April 11th.
April 11th.
Oh, April 11th. Okay. Just wanted to
And
confirm. I was just
To
looking
be
at
paid
it.
on April 22nd of 05.
It's hard because
We'll
I
replace
looked at
Stephen
it.
Avery.
I look at it and I was like, huh? And then I remembered that
We do dates differently.
you
We do it wrong.
differently.
Let's just
I was
admit
like,
it.
huh?
We do it counter logically. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just the way we do it. And I mean, logically, you'd go from either big number to small number, but we go to month then to the smaller number, then to the bigger number, right? We do month, date, then year. But to be consistent, wouldn't you be like the year, the month, and then the day? But we
No, we
for
do
some
the day,
reason,
the month, the year.
we do it wrong. I'm just gonna put my hand up and say it. It's confusing. It is confusing.
I remember the first
It's like
time
the
that
metric system. We got I guess it's okay to have that, but everybody else is on metric. It's not that hard.
I remember when I was younger, I was actually going to bring that up. It was actually my brother's, but we had a small motorcycle and it was a Honda. Of course, everything on is metric. Well, we didn't have any metric tools. Come on.
That's the problem. Yeah. The rest of the world, everyone in the rest of the world had metric tools for you to borrow.
Well, we ended up having to buy some.
Other than Sylvania, I think we're the only people that do our system here. Stephen Avery seniors. So
This is his Grand Am. This is the Grand Am.
Pontiac. It's exempt. Why is it exempt? Odometer, because it's probably so old. It's probably the odometer's broken or something. It's got 300,000 on it.
Well, it was probably broken, and they, couldn't replace it, or they could replace it, but the mileage would be like, whatever it is. So you're good luck to you.
Thanks, Niak, for helping me out. The U.S., Liberia, I don't know why I thought it was Slovenia, and Myanmar are the other ones that use the imperial system that we use. Everybody else is on the metric. I mean, just the logic of it. Freezes at 0, boils at 100. I mean, it's just a little more logical. I know, like, it would throw your brain for a loop. I lived outside the country for a long time, and it took me forever to understand how hot 30 degrees was. Real quick fact, and then I'm done talking about temperature, Mr. Science. The only point at which they both are the same, that the temperature is the same, is negative 40 degrees. Negative 40 Fahrenheit is the same as negative 40 Celsius. There's your trivia for today.
Woo-hoo.
That might help you in beer trivia out there, kids.
Mr. Science. You go.
Science.
I'm going to take it for granted this is Steven's bill, but I don't know that. I don't remember.
We could find out. We could find out if we really wanted to because the account number's on there. But maybe that's the first page. That looks like more text up there.
Well, it has.
It'll
the
have
phone
the phone number.
There. It does. I just
his...
saw it. So whoever's phone number is registered to look. If you go to the right.
Right.
Very first right there. It says no.
That's the call toll free number.
Okay, so it must be. Did you just change screens?
There's the mobile number. 323-4038.
Oh, there you go.
There it is, right there.
No. There it is, right there.
Who's 4038? Anybody know offhand? Calf, you might be able to find that. You're pretty files at your fingertips.
I don't remember if that's Stevens or not. Personally.
Who else could it be? Jody's?
What do you need from me?
Phone number.
What's Steven's phone number?
Oh, all right. Hang on. Let me look it up.
Cell phone number.
It's on this bill here. 920-323-4038.
I'm a little hurt we haven't seen Bob yet.
Many phone calls as I've looked at, you'd think I'd have that shit memorized, but I don't.
I don't know how anybody could. I mean, I think I remember my phone number. I mean, there's just so many numbers, and now cell phones make it so easy. You don't even need to remember anybody's phone number. Still remember, like my friend in grade school, because you had to remember people's numbers. You know, I know I sound old. I don't mind, but you used to have to memorize people's numbers.
I remember when we got our first phone when I was a child. I remember that number.
Wow.
You had to remember it. There was no.
Actually, they taught you in kindergarten to memorize your phone number and your address. They used to pin it on you when you were in kindergarten. Now you just give them a smartwatch and track them. Yeah, well, that's Steven's bill.
So Steven's ends with 8715.
Oh, that's not what we have.
No.
I've got it. Oh, so Steven's number is that one because I'm looking at it now. So it's 7558. Hang on, that's his. So his landline is 7554860, and his mobile is 3234038.
So that was Steven's bill.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Steven's
weird.
bill.
4038. That's his mobile one. His landline's
I guess
a different
it makes
one.
sense because they want to track him calling Teresa, so it is a good investigatory thing to collect the bill. I mean, I don't want to fault them for everything they do, even when they do anything. That would be the normal process, I think. What does that say? Description of violation.
5-day repair.
Windshield. Cracked windshield. Ticket for a cracked windshield.
Oh yeah.
Let me see what car it is. Let's see what car that is. As long as you got it. Cracked windshield for what?
I'm looking.
02 Ford truck, black. That's his. That's his new truck. He had a cracked windshield in his new truck.
That could happen. Absolutely.
And it's not cheap to repair, so I'm sure he drove around with it. You know what I mean? With a crack.
Well, until he got another windshield and they popped it in there, yeah.
Well, can we go back and see who pulled him over?
Yeah, sure.
I was looking in CASO. It says the next previous phone call would have been on the 31st at 11:43, ending in 8715, which lists to Stephen Avery.
Yeah. Okay. L.K. Appleman?
Just weird.
Two Rivers PD?
Yep.
Kappelman?
6205, June the 2nd. Yep. Did you need me to go back to that phone bill, Kath?
CASO. Oh, no, it doesn't matter. It's just a different number to what you two guys just read out, but doesn't matter.
Well, is there a landline number too? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Cal read them both out, but none of them were this one, so I don't know.
Huh. Well, we'll have to look at. We'll look into it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you save that and we'll look into it?
Yeah, it's just in CASO.
What was the number quickly, Kath?
Ended in 8715.
That's Barb's landline.
Oh, and it says which list to a Stephen Avery. Should have known.
Yeah, I'm guessing you're reading Mark Wiegert's report then.
Oh, I just pulled up CASO just quickly to find his number, and that's what I got. Yeah, Wiegert. Yeah.
Yep. And here's where Stephen went and dropped money off again for Jody.
Bloody CASO. Sick of it.
I mean, wasn't he kind of collecting these checks and basically supporting Jody with him? Like he's like, oh, we'll sell this car, and then I'm gonna pay this fine for you. Like on the phone calls, I'm gonna pay this fine for you, and then we're gonna pay that one off, and then you're gonna be clear.
Yep.
That's how I remember hearing that. So like, let's just be clear about what his motive was to sell these vehicles.
I've got this photo here saved because I really want to talk to yours about this because I'm interested in that videotape right there. Right?
I like the username and password. That's interesting. Can we can you take a screenshot of that? Maybe take a look at that later. A username and password for Steven. Interesting. Why would it be on a printout? Oh, it's Family Online Limited. This is his family video account?
I think it's his.
Family Online New. Go to the top. Can you move over on the top? Oh,
I
there
thought
it
it was
is.
his internet.
Account.
I think
Yeah,
it's his
it's
internet.
yeah,
Yeah, his ISP.
Yeah, that's what I
Family
thought. I always
Online.
thought it was his internet. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Well,
his family.
did they highlight it or did he highlight it?
I'm guessing the police did. I don't know. I really don't know.
Anyway, easy to find how to get on his internet. And look, does he have a CD there? Oh my God, a videotape, a VHS even.
I'm interested in what's on. I'm interested in what's on that tape. We know what that is. That's for a printer, but
Maybe we don't want to know what's on that tape.
Yeah.
We know that they
Maybe
like take certain photos of each other. Let's
a little
maybe
too much of that. That's
tape
what I was.
is
My
not-
brain was going right here. A little too much of what we're looking at now, right?
well, for those that don't know, there were a couple of photos removed out of this batch of photos because they were pretty rough. That's all I'll say.
Okay. Well, that's man. Thank you.
We would be showing them. We wouldn't be showing them on here. Let me put it to you that way.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
These are NSFW, as they say, not safe for work.
Yep.
Yep, there's this bill. We saw that. It's just out of the pile now, and another picture. Bear69 is his username.
Password is night.
I'll hold myself together.
I don't think this. Yeah, okay. Nothing. Basically, it looks like the contract for his ISP.
I won't say which one, but where I was born is on that list. Boom.
Sweet.
Yep, on the left column.
Here we go. The carpet cleaner.
So many items that led to nothing.
Absolutely.
I think that says Kakana right there. No. I don't know. It's a vacuum. But they never found anything in that vacuum, did they? Never found any Teresa Hallbach's DNA, never found any blood, never found any other matter, never found any...
They didn't test it. They didn't test any of the hairs in it. Uyghur said they didn't have time. We didn't have time to go through all that. Send it to Quantico.
Yeah. I forgot that he just said we didn't have... You guys! It's ridiculous. I mean... If you're going to investigate and say that there was a crime staged in this guy's apartment and you have his vacuum, and you said he had 5 days to clean up nonetheless, right?
Yep.
Who said it earlier? They don't ask the questions they don't want the answers to. They don't look at the evidence they don't want included.
That too.
Yeah, they're
always
controlling the narrative. They've got the story that they want, and they're sticking to that. And anything that gets in the way of their narrative to their story, they just don't include.
Right.
Whatever this.
He found a rag. He found a rag inside the vehicle.
Yep.
Good job, Kaczarski. Can we get your number?
Now this photo here.
There, it's apostrophe RE. I'm sorry.
Yeah. For
No,
for
wait.
anyone
No,
that
wait.
may or
It's
may not
not.
have
It's
noticed
correct.
on
Your number.
on the Foul Play Discord earlier today, someone had posted this, the outburst side of it. You could clearly see this, all of this, through the backside. It was in reverse, obviously. But there's some, I guess, interesting writing on the outburst. I don't know if it's going to show it here or not. Let's see if we can get any read here. That's too bright. I can't reach. We got the property tag number 8415, but I can't hardly read this. Dating paper. It's 2062-3. I need to keep that in mind.
While I have an opportunity, I just want to go back to the chat, especially to Maz, because I brought up something earlier in the conversation. I've just been in the background. I was a little bit busy, and then I've been looking for it just to highlight what I was talking about. So earlier there was a discussion about the burn pit and burning a body in a fire open pit. Anyway, there was a show on Netflix called The Confession Tapes. It's episode 4, and it's the Bose case. It's the gentleman that my apology, he burned his wife in the backyard, and he had it for a few days, and then he picked up the ash and then started spreading it around, basically around not the neighborhood, but in other areas. The neighbors saw the fire. They didn't smell anything out of the ordinary. They didn't think anything of it. They thought it was a little bit funny because they could see him out there attending to the fire. But it was actually Kathleen's expert, Dr. Dehan, who went in there and who had to do an experiment with, I think it was a pig, wasn't it, Kath? And that was to show, because, pigs have the same kind of body fat as us and the tissues and muscles. And they wanted to see whether it was possible because, funny enough, in this episode, they brought in the expert to prove that you could burn a body in an open pit, because the law enforcement didn't believe it. So they got the expert in to show that it is possible. The difference is, although, Dr. Dehan has kind of said, he theorizes that in this case, in Stephen Avery's case, Teresa was in a barrel versus an open pit, but he doesn't ever rule out that a pit couldn't have been used. The difference is the duration for how long Stephen had that fire versus this case where this was a burn over, I think it was a 4-day period or something on that lines. So I just wanted to address that because I did reference it, and I like to back up everything that I say, because I don't want to leave it open-ended.
Yeah, it can be done, but as I remember that episode, it takes time, a lot of time. And you got to keep going back and adding fuel and all that shit. Yeah, you're right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. What if these are the shell casings they picked up in November out of the garage? We'll find out.
Conspicuous number, huh?
6. Looks like that's 640. Yeah, it says floor 22 case. Kath, can you look that up right quick? Property tag 640. I bet this is exactly what this is.
You think it's just number 640, nothing else?
If there is, I can't see it. It looks like it's just 640.
Yeah. What actually is it?
It's 11 shell casings.
Shell casings.
Yep.
Garage floor.
Yep, that's exactly what it says. Pretty sure that's what they picked up when they had the property seized in November. There's 7099. Yard east of George, or
No,
garage, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Kucharski found that too. Man, it's just everywhere. There's an arrow. Strange they would pick that up. It's hard to read. 8426, I guess it is. There's a bunch here. That's a whole pile. And these are not, I don't think these are 22s. Probably
I'm just
20
going to
shell
quickly
casings.
squeeze in here and say, my apologies, Jojax. I'll let you finish off.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I do have to bounce, so I just want to take that opportunity to say goodbye to everyone and thank you for joining. I'll try to listen in the background and possibly try to be on the YouTube in the chat still, but I've got some things to do. So I will see you all next time and catch you all later.
Hey, thanks, Kel.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cal.
We'll see you soon. Talk to you soon. Is that the number right there? Can you go back? 802, I think. One more back. Maybe two more. There, 8302. Is that is that the same tag? Because it was 830 something we were looking for before, right?
No, 640.
My bad.
Yep. At first it was 640. That was the 11 shell casings that they picked up. These are just various other odds and ends that they've picked up from around the property, I guess. This one is gravel pit. Gives the coordinates. Red Federal shotgun.
Looked pretty fresh to me. I mean, I've seen a lot of shell casings and.
Oh yeah, it's not even faded.
I mean, that thing doesn't have a bit of corrosion on that metal on the bottom either. They're fresh.
Yep.
Fresh and shiny. I mean, they don't stay that way long. That's all I'm saying.
They sure don't.
A few weeks, you're just going to show. Really, the casing fades in the sun first. That's what I think happens.
Yep. But they're not going to put a lot of nickel and so forth in this metal here because
right.
They don't need to.
Yeah, it's going to rust quick.
That's right. And same thing for these. They're nice and shiny.
I mean, as we know, there are a lot of hunters in the Redont quarry area.
Sure.
Every day. Almost every day.
Yep.
They don't always pick up their shell casings like they should.
Oh no, they were everywhere. As we can see here. This is just basically a kind of a cursory look. I bet if you went there and really looked, you'd find thousands of them.
Yeah, they fade and turn orange, and look at what we got right in front of us. Look at that one. It's all faded.
More coordinates here for this 8306. More coordinates for 8419. 8301. More coordinates. Now, this one looks like it's been around the block a couple of days.
That's what I'm saying. That one's been around there a little bit.
Yep.
Starting to show wear.
More coordinates, 8421. There's Brendan's pants under at least a bright light. I'm just curious here. You bear with me. Going back to, so this is, it's not Brendan's pants. This is January 12th. So it's not Brendan's pants. Okay, we'll get a tag here. I can't really read that. looks like coordinates there. North 44 something. Sure, they just did find those out laying somewhere in the, in the quarry or something.
Those Wranglers?
I don't know what they are.
The red tags. No, it says Union Bay.
Yep, that's exactly what it says.
I'd like to solve the puzzle, Alex.
More pants by somebody. Looks like a pair of jeans. MapQuest. I think this is. Was this from? Is this from tree found in? No, I'm gonna say something wrong.
I thought it was found on the road on. What's that road next to the?
147.
No, what's that side road there?
Jambo Creek.
Yeah, I feel like that's where. Don't quote me on that either.
I don't recall. Maybe Kath knows.
Kath, do you remember? Or anyone in chat remember the MapQuest map?
Yeah. Was it Jambo Creek? It wasn't near the turnaround, was it?
Could be. It could be either. I'm not on my computer right now, so I'm really at a disadvantage here.
Oh, there's just so much to remember. Like, someone will know in chat.
We'll move on. Hey, we got a tag here. I can't read it though. 8424.
Jambo Creek, yep.
It was Jambo Creek. Hey, look at you go there.
Look at me.
Big dog.
Big dog.
Big dog.
Top Crow. That's some Top Crow stuff, man. I'm telling you.
That's right. I don't know what this is. Not a clue. Maybe we'll get a tag here.
Piece of string.
It's 8309, whatever 8309 is. Piece of rope. Or is it a necklace? Nope, I think you're right. I think it's string. Twine.
Better make sure you document that.
Yeah. Here we go.
Here we go.
The missing evidence.
I had a phone like
Did
this.
you?
I think my whole family did at one point.
I had one similar to it. It wasn't an audio box, but
I don't know. I think mine was maybe a Nokia, but it looked the same. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's. I think that the models sometimes come under different names, but
I think mine was a Nokia. I think mine was a Nokia as well.
The one that I had before that Nokia was not a flip phone. It's indestructible. But I definitely had a phone like this. I definitely did.
Yeah, I did too. Definitely
I liked
flip
it.
phone.
I liked this flip phone because it fit in your pocket nice.
Yep.
Now, the fact that they avoid really going into detail about this tells me a lot. Tells me that they were scared of it. Maybe not scared of it, but scared what if it was her second phone? Holy, we'd be screwed. So let's just get rid of this. It's probably not, maybe not, but let's make sure that no one ever processes it in a serious manner.
Nope, it got disappeared. Roll the tape.
It got disappeared. I mean, come on.
I know. So bad to even say those words and just not catch on fire. We've got more bullets and a knife and a shotgun shell casing. Whole pile of bullets here. 22 Thunderbolt. Yeah. Another roll of tape. Where did they take this from? Avery Garage. There's some electrical tape. I don't know what that is. Wadded up piece of duct tape. Okay. Yeah, let's take that. Absolutely no evidentiary value at all. Some gloves. Looks like some electrical wiring or extension cord. They may have taken this out of the garage, now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, TJ might
Wrapped-
be an expert on these kind of phones in the chat. He said he wrote a snake game for the GW Basic, and he won at the Byte magazine contest. That's pretty cool, TJ. So you might know a little bit about these phones.
Officer Wendling. I've never even heard that name before.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of Wendling.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that name.
Here we go. Now we got a Leatherman, some more bullets, a couple of knives, some mini mags over here.
And do we know where this was collected from? Steven's trailer?
Let's see if I can read it here.
His room.
12932.
Stephen Avery's room.
Yep.
Where does it say that?
Top line.
Right there.
Oh. Yep. I gotta make sure. Okay. So he's got knives and guns that he's not supposed to have. Here's a hammer.
Now we got a Sherry Lynn Pontillo hammer.
Yeah, let's get up in there. So I want to see the neck of that. They zoom in on the head neck area of the hammer.
Hold on, I will.
Good. In his garage. Stephen Avery's garage.
Burn pit behind. Yep.
In the burn pit, yeah. I think it was just off to the side of the burn pit.
Well, if there was any matter, if they thought that a crime had been committed with this hammer, they would have processed the shit out of it. And they would have been like, oh, look we found something on here. You're done, dude. But that's not what happened. So you know that there's nothing on this hammer.
Nothing. Mallet. Soft blow mallet, that is.
I could have used one of those the other day, to be honest.
These things are
putting the rotors back on my brakes. Didn't want to go.
Yeah, these things are so handy. A soft blow mallet. Now, here we go. What's this right here?
Is this the thing that Tom Pierce bought? Oh, no, this isn't Teresa's. I'm sorry. My brain's jumping ahead. I'm sorry. This is out of Stevens still?
That's right. There should be a card here. Yeah, there it is.
Okay. Was this in the Suzuki?
It was. Let's see. Garage south of Avery trailer. It doesn't say exactly where it was, but there's a photo. We'll probably get to it of the Suzuki sitting there in the garage. It's got a bunch of crap on the hood, and this is sitting on there too. The thing is, I'm going to back up one. Remember, the tire tool came out of a kit similar to this. I'm not saying this kit. Obviously, they come in different sizes with different loadouts, depending. But remember, Kent 3334 posted, this was last year, multiple photos of his emergency roadside kit. I think his son has one too. And that lug wrench looks exactly like what they found in that RAV.
Well, it's not a stretch of the imagination for someone to have said, oh, let's take this kit that we found in Teresa's and put it in his garage. That's
right.
And so it just never materialized because of other evidence, but I wouldn't put it past him. You know what I'm saying? Like, to try to make it look like he was trying to steal her kit. You know what I mean? Not
a stretch at all.
Not compared to what we've seen. Not compared to what we've seen with the bullet and the fiascos. That seems rather pedestrian.
Yeah, I'd actually meant to talk a little bit more about Autumn FL. Maybe we'll do it another time, but I saw that FL there. It just reminded me of it.
Is something stuck in your craw?
Well, it's just out of FL in itself.
Well,
yeah, the whole thing does. I mean, I wasn't gonna have I did have a big comment about it, but it was talked about in the last episode of discussing a murderer, and then we talked a little bit about it, before we got into the photos tonight, and the ridiculousness of that. It's beyond belief, and what the jurors didn't know and were sold on. It was completely. I think about again. It's hard to do this now as we go through and all the stuff that we've seen, and we continue to put this stuff out, but it's hard to back that truck up. And you think about back into, even February and March of 2006 or 7. I'm sorry, when the trial was. I don't know what the percentage point would be, but I'm going to say at least 60%, 70% of what we see and take for granted now, the jurors never saw. They didn't know anything about it. How can you make a real decision and you not know? And this is our justice system, or those in control of the justice system at the time, that were allowed to get away with doing what they did. I don't know what all these things are from are. Oh, they're all, okay. They're to various family members. Okay. Aurora Medical Center. Okay, what's this?
Well, we got to tell Boss Hogg and his happy berry man of his merry band of good old boys that the good old boy culture from back when Lank first entered, it ain't like that anymore. And we're going to catch you because it happens all the time now. It happens more often. And I just want to make the point that we really do get down on the justice system, and rightfully so, we do criticize it, but we also have to point out that things, generally speaking, have been improved. Technology has improved. Collection methods have improved. Because of Brendan, there are laws in place that require a guardian or a parent to be in the room with someone who's underage. Like, I know it's not a consolation prize, but I think it's important to point out, because we point out so much negative, and that's kind of what we do here is we point out the shortcomings and the mistakes made. But yeah. I do think it's important to point out that generally speaking, and I know that COVID brought on more crime, but generally speaking, crime rates have steadily decreased, and I think that has to do with increased law enforcement, increased technologies that help catch people. It makes it harder to get away with this stuff. We can look at that case with Brian Kroberger. Maybe I butchered his last name, but he was a criminology student. He knew what they were going to look for. And he made one major mistake, I guess, but still one mistake and your ship is sunk, right? And so I do have a little more faith that it's not 2005 anymore, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful it's not 2005 anymore, and that people like Colburn and Lank are mostly out of the system, if not already. So I know it continues on, but
better policing for I think the most part in many of these situations. There's still huge problems. I don't know if you saw the story up. It was actually an article. There was video too. I posted probably sometime last week about what happened in the West Virginia State Trooper barracks, and I don't know if it was Richmond or I don't remember, but one of the major barracks. Did you read about that, or did you read that story?
I'm not up on that one.
So apparently, an officer or two put some cameras in the women's locker room.
Nice.
And very
nice of them to do that.
Well, they were taking photos and videos, and they were getting uploaded to wherever. And it got found out. Well, instead of trying to find out exactly who did what, they tried to bury it. They did bury it, and it's just blown up. It went all the way to the very top of the state trooper in that state. It's a massive scandal. It's a massive scandal. I'm not kidding.
Well, I think, you know what? I think that you hit on the point that I was tiptoeing around. I'm glad that you brought that up, because I was going to make a caveat after my comments and say, except the only thing that hasn't gotten better, the one thing that we haven't got better at is catching cops, right? That's still really difficult, right?
Yeah.
To catch, and a lot of times when you do get these big cases, there was some circumstance that somebody was there that saw something that's ready to talk, or something happened, right? It doesn't usually shake out. I mean, it's unfortunate, but with power comes responsibility, and a lot of people want to make their own little gang and group and think that they can get away with it, and sometimes they do. I mean, as we've noticed in this case, sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't.
Well, you want to give, you want to think that police officers are a cut above. You want to give them the benefit of the doubt if you can. But as we found, in many cases, we should. But in probably just as many cases, we can't. We just can't do it. So,
what is this that we're looking at that phone? Is that two different phones? How is that? It didn't. I guess it was from the same phone, or is it?
I think that's
LG. What is that? Can you go in the top right of this picture, and there's a little dot on that phone? Does that say LG? They're all LG. Yep, they're all LG. So maybe it is the same. And my next question for you guys out there in the chat, and Kath and Jack, why would you break a phone in half like that? Just give me the circumstance that would be like, I'm gonna break this phone in half. What would drive someone to do that? Because I can only think of anger.
That's me. It's just anger. This for me looks like this part here in the middle is the backside to what's on the left, and the whole thing got broke off from this. You understand what I'm saying? This is the outside, this left part.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Whose phone is that?
I don't know. I think they found it in the they did. They found it in the drawer in the shop.
Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Burner phone in the shop. Okay. Anyway, I got a question from Renika Clack, and it's, I wonder if any of the jurors now have any opinions of what is uncovered today. And we actually do have the opinion of well, I guess he was an intern juror who had to leave, but he's been outspoken. Richard Mahler has talked a lot about being there throughout the whole case. He just didn't vote. He was pretty much there all the way up until the end, and then had to leave for an emergency and didn't vote. He's been outspoken about what he thinks, and he's in touch with another actual juror. I don't know if I should say the name. I don't know if you guys have before. I think it starts with a J. Anyway, she supposedly also has opinions about it, but has never spoken publicly.
I wish they would. I wish we knew what happened in that jury deliberation room, because I just don't know how you go from 732 to all guilty. I just don't know how you do it. What is this before I move on? Satisfy myself here. Notebook found on computer desk and living room. Remaker. Second page call. Cell number 737-4731. Back to patio door. Okay. I remember that. Looks like there's various pages from this little notebook I found on Stephen's desk. Jim Doyle? Yep, it is.
Jim Doyle's the former governor. He was before Scott Walker.
Yep.
Jim up north. Can you go back to that? Because that just brings back so many. You don't know how many people that I have in my phone that are like that. Like Bob up north. Like that's how I know him from. You know?
Yeah.
That is just too
No last name, no city, just Jim from up north.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember that guy.
Yeah, because you don't really need his last name. You just because there's only one Jim that lives around your place up north. Obviously, you don't need his last name. It's just I have in my phone. I have that up north.
Pack, laundry, dishes, water plants.
Looks like a woman's handwriting, if I had to guess.
It looks like I'm guessing this Jody's writing, but I don't.
Maybe my guess. I got so many comments that I could make that I'm holding back, Jack.
Another. I've never really. I mean, I probably scanned these a couple of times, but never really paid much attention because it's pretty much irrelevant.
I mean, they're just people's address, just contacts of Jody's. It looks like, or maybe his. Here's Wisconsin Public Television. He was in contact with them because they were asking him about his wrongful conviction. You know what I mean? These are just notes. Zoom in, zoom out. Magic tornado, camera left, camera right. That's interesting.
No idea what that means.
No idea. Emerson Drive. It looks like something that I would write. Some fantastic police work here.
Yeah. No idea. And another phone number. No clue. Back to patio door. There's one of Jody. Looks like this is right before she went to jail. That's right before she went reported to jail.
I mean, that looks like the bench at the trailer in the back, so I'm pretty sure that's where it was taken.
Yeah.
We're such detectives here. We're investigating things that don't need to be investigated. We're just like Manitowoc, Jack.
That's right. And here we go, Xander Road. A lot of strange shit with Xander Road, especially this address.
Is that right? I'm not familiar. What's that 3302 Xander?
Well, going into the dispatch calls, we actually played a couple of them the other night. It wasn't 3302 was Xander Road. It was 2632, which talking to Rhonda and Cherie, I don't recall. They were, when they took the trip up last year before, whichever time, they actually went to Xander Road, and from 2632 to 3302 is about roughly half mile. Anyway, I can't remember which night. I think it was the 6th, night of the 5th, or maybe going to the 6th. I don't remember. Remember Andres Martinez, the one that attacked his girlfriend with the axe?
Sure.
They were after him, so they called for. They thought I guess they got a tip or something. They thought he was at 2632 Xander Road, which again is right down the road from here, hiding at someone's house. So they sent 2 cars on code, lights and sirens and all that, to go to that property immediately and search for him. There's another call. It's coming up. I haven't replayed it. We've played it before, but I think it was on the somewhere around the 9th or the 10th of November. They blocked off a certain section of Xander Road, the 9th to the 10th. Now, this is after Stevens arrested and yada, 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 and still don't know what they were doing there because there's no reports about it. We wouldn't even know. Well, yeah, probably. I mean, we wouldn't even know if we didn't have the dispatch call.
Interesting, because think about it. Look at all the stuff that we've seen that doesn't mean anything, and they document it, and then they don't document the important stuff. So the fact that they leave it out, what does that tell you?
And they've got the address written there, and then they've got the Sharpie pen right next to it.
That's funny. That is really funny.
It's like, let's just write this.
Really, whose penmanship is that? Is that Stevens? I don't know. Did they just write that on there? That's really good, Kath. I mean, why not? Why couldn't you?
It's so weird. But there was a picture. Is it the other side of the for sale sign or whatever it's on? It said, I can't remember.
There. There's the sale sign. 1995.
Sharp Sales or something. Buy or sell home stuff at sharpsales.com. Wonder where that is.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what this is. Let me zoom in on this, see if we can read it. Oh, this is the vacuum cleaner. Vacuum, I guess this is the bag out of it. Yeah. More mail. More duct tape. Like you would need, 1,000 rolls of duct tape, and we use duct tape on everything.
Yeah, that's pretty much. Somebody brought up, I think it was you, Kath, brought up a really good point with this picture right here.
Yeah, I thought maybe that blue lanyard could have been, the one that they used in the case, originally being Stevens, and then just took off the keys and then just put, the RAV4 key over it. But then we compared them, and they're completely different little lanyard.
But they could have swapped it out. I mean,
and it would explain why one's got all Stevens DNA on it and not Teresa's as well, because it's only ever been Stevens.
If it was that simple that they just swapped out the lanyard. Do we have a picture of the lanyard actually connected and clicked together? Because I only remember them being separate. That's interesting.
Yeah, true.
I don't ever remember seeing it clicked together.
I don't think we do.
And that, okay, what if, just give me the what if Kath's right, or Kath's idea is true, that all you had to do is switch the lanyard, and that's why only Stevens' DNA is on it. And nobody had to do anything. Cherie Colony didn't have to do anything.
Nope.
That's a lot easier than expecting someone at the state crime lab to fix the boo-boo that you made. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier than expecting them to come up with a alternative profile, or just give them his keys, right? So I kind of want to take a look at that fabric closer someday and really compare them and see, but it's for another time.
Something in red trailer.
Yeah, Bethany, that is the juror that you're talking about is Richard Mahler. He there was an incident at. It's apparently that his daughter was in an accident, but then it turns out it wasn't that big of a deal after all.
Tiny fender bender.
little suspicious. And you were right that there was, I forget, maybe it was JJ that said the comment that, in fact, there was an MTSO officer's father on the jury, and he was the one that was, pushing for guilt. So, yeah, I think they had somebody in at every step of the game. You know what I mean? They had one of their people that was not necessarily, and I think let's call this casual conspiracy. Like, they just pile on. There's not a central meeting, and I really believe that. There's no central meeting. Okay, today, you do this, you do this. I think it's more of, you guys know what to do. You know how to plant evidence. I don't have to tell you, because I can't tell you. But you know how to pile on.
Yeah.
That's how I believe it happened.
We got to get this guy. Come on, guy. We got to get this guy.
Wink, wink, wink. We got to get this guy.
End of story.
Right. Sheriff wants to get this guy, right? That's about all you need to say, right? Sheriff Peterson wants to get this guy. He's good for it. Okay. Whatever Sheriff Peterson wants.
Last item and this item was found at Maribel Caves and taken care of by Colby.
Yeah. Colburn took care of it. Then you got questions.
Yep.
Then I got questions. Then I got questions.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Then I got
Get in
questions.
line. That's right.
Yeah.
The Mountain Dew can, we really need that. I don't know what this is. Let's see if we can get an explanation. Crime Lab, Avery Property, Reimer.
Latent.
Oh, okay.
They always say latent fingerprints. Can you have a fingerprint that isn't latent?
Yeah. But where did it come from? The Avery Property. That's 40 acres. Where did it come from, Reimer? Could be anywhere.
Can you zoom in on it a little bit? It looks like a little photo of it, maybe. Yeah, right there in the center.
As far as I can go, right there.
Hold on, nothing.
Really, can't really tell. It just looks like a bunch of smudges to me.
What is that? It says the word due.
I don't know. He's so vague about it on the property tag slip there. It says Avery Property.
Oh, latent. Oh, so it's Prince.
Yep. The latent lift from somewhere.
Shandy's right. 1,000 photos of nothing, but 0 photos of digging up the burn pit. Not suspicious at all.
That's right. No photos of what they were doing at Gus Road.
Not
except from the air.
At all.
View from Reese, 500 yards away.
I'm sorry, we just had to go back to chapter 2 of today's live where we were talking about the soot on the gloves. So just think about this. We've determined that all that black stuff came from the burn pit. Think about it. They're convinced he was burned in the burn pit, but yet they sort the burned barrels. What does that tell you? They don't know what they're doing, man. They're not onto anything. They're not onto the bones in the pit. You know what I mean? They're just... it's kind of aggravating. Okay, I'm sorry to take us all the way back there, but I just had that little spurt, and sometimes you got to let it out, or it's just going to disappear.
Yep.
A sock, muddy sock.
Oh, the famous keynote.
Yep.
That no one ever has worked out.
Nope.
That's the original, huh?
Yeah.
It is.
Wow, it's in blue ink. I've never seen it. I only saw a scan. Can you zoom in a little bit for me? Just give me a quick peek.
Let me go forward. We'll see if we've got a better photo. If not, I'm going to turn this one. Give me a second.
Yeah, okay.
It would have been easier if they just used the Sharpie pen.
Yeah. Well, at that point, aren't they looking for a blue pen in Stevens or somebody else's desk drawer, right? Wouldn't they be like, oh, look at, here's a blue pen, but they don't. They find Sharpies.
I don't know. And why is half of it written and half of it printed?
That's a great question.
I think
like,
what I've always thought about that is to attempt to hide your writing.
Stops right there where it says aluminum.
Somebody who doesn't know how to spell, which I'm sorry, aluminum's not an easy word.
Hang on a minute, and look at the apostrophe. Apostrophe mark. I can't even talk now. Apostrophe mark there. You got one going one way and one going the other. Little tiny one. Yeah, that just doesn't make sense.
It definitely looks like two different people wrote it.
Yeah. And there's writing on the back as well, and even some of it looked like it had been, I don't know, maybe rubbed off or something in some way. Oh, that's on the back, right?
I don't know. If I was going to do it and I was trying to hide my penmanship, I would write left-handed, and it would look all shitty like that.
Sure.
Looks like something I would write left-handed. That's what I'm saying.
Manitowoc.
Sure. Manitowoc, sure.
Mm-hmm.
So you think they're deliberately written it that way? Do you think they're deliberately written that way, or do you just think that they can't spell?
I don't know, because the other side's so fracked up. I don't know, Kev. I really don't. It could have been intentional.
Such a mystery, that.
It is.
Now that says Green Bay Police Department. Just to be clear.
Container package. What does that mean?
11:30. Huh.
Why is Wendy Baldwin at the... What is this now?
I guess she was the one who went and collected it, I guess.
What is it? What was it? I'm sorry, I missed it. Collected what?
Container
package, and it's cut off. I don't know. Maybe we have a better photo coming up. I don't know.
11:30. When did Steven have his surgery in Green Bay?
January.
Okay.
It's not this.
Ryan Hilligus. Doesn't it say Ryan Hilligus?
It does.
Yeah.
There's his address too. That's not his
12-1.
Yeah, no, that's Trace's. He's obviously given him the box.
Yeah. It's funny they put his name on it. They love to throw Ryan under the...
And that's the other thing. This was never found amongst the semi-burnt electronics, was it?
This camera, PowerShot A310.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe so.
So where's that?
He's been on that memory card. You know what I'm saying? Next to that, on the box, there's a little picture of a memory card. And then there's a memory card in the back of the RAV4, isn't there? Oh gosh, I have that size.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got the photos from that. We've got the photos from that memory card.
Well, that's a black one.
It's 11:305. This is from the zippers. Yeah.
They're the easiest address, 4433 County B. It rhymes. So I think what they're showing is good. This is the packet you get from Teresa when she comes.
Pretty much.
So can you zoom in on the? Oh, too late.
No, which one?
Oh, that one in just on the top of the magazine there.
September
Okay,
15th.
so it's last month's magazine. I get
It's
it.
an old one. It's
Yeah,
not
why
the
would you
current
be
one.
carrying old ones around?
But it's not the current one. So where's the current one, Zipper?
Don't think it's been printed yet. I say that. I don't know.
Well, no. If she's coming on October 31st, I guess.
Yeah, there would
I
have
guess
been
be handing out September's issue. Okay, makes sense.
Well, I guess I don't know exactly when they were printed. So
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm going to Google that quickly. Because I think they come out once a month or something. So the October 15th to 21st would have been out, and she was doing the October to November's.
Yeah.
Interesting belt.
It was.
Why is it interesting? Just looks like a belt.
I think it's a unisex belt. That's
The
why
design, yeah.
Could be a woman's, could be a man's. Not really sure.
Yeah. True.
These are the missing voice recordings.
Well, no, we've got this one. Jinx got this one.
Oh, this is
So
the
you can
Bobby
get
Dassey one. Oh,
Yeah.
damn. This is the actual cassette of the Bobby Dassey recording.
That's right.
Wicked. Oh,
Is it?
wow.
It says medical. Aurora Medical. So is that when they were like examining scratches and whatnot?
They'd subpoenaed everybody's DNA, so everybody was technically under arrest just long enough for them to take DNA, and then they were free to go.
Why two tapes though?
I don't know, but he does say, "Okay, I'm going to stop the interview now, Bobby. I'm going to flip the tape or something like that." Jack, what do you know about this?
What's that?
That there's two tapes here.
Yeah, I mean,
two sides to each tape, so there should be 4 sections of recording.
If they recorded that long,
at the most.
Yeah, I'd have to look. I don't remember exactly how long that interview is. But my experience has been they're really heavy-handed on the editing of these interviews. They were really bad with Earl. It was terrible. In fact, give me just 1 second here. I'll just leave that photo up. And give me just 1 second here.
Hey, Mr. Jinx, good job again, by the way, getting that interview of Bobby Dassey. Gosh, that was quite a while again already. It's been a minute already since that was broke.
Yep. Okay, interviews. Where the hell yet? Right there. Okay. The Bobby Dassey interview on 11/9 was 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 45 seconds. So it would depend on how long each side of the tape was.
Can we zoom in? Maybe it says, 30 minutes, an hour. Thailand MC30. I mean, I'm going to MC30.
Yeah. So one's the 60 minutes, one's the 30.
Yep, MC30, MC60. So 60 and 30 is 90. And how long did you say?
Hour and what did I say? Hour and change here.
If it's less than an hour and a half, it's perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
1 hour and 5 minutes and 45 seconds.
There you go. There you go. So there's not necessarily any missing time.
Yeah.
Not that anyone said that there was, but it's always a suspicion, I'm sorry, but I'm suspicious of everything, every piece of evidence that's ever submitted through Manitowoc and Calumet, because you have to be.
So am I. Because they really screwed over with Earl or Avery's interviews. It was horrible.
Well, and as I said, there's a couple people out there that I don't think anyone's ever FOIA'd their interviews. We don't even know if they exist, but I think I'm going to poke around. So I'll
The,
give you
the
guys
amount of
sensitive
evidence tagged is doing my head in. It's all just so irrelevant,
It is. This
isn't it?
cordless phone. It's cordless
It's his
phone here.
cordless
What the?
phone. Right.
Come
Here's a
on, man.
cord. Here's a cord. Here's a cord. Here's a
What is
cordless
that?
phone.
Oh, it's
This
this
is a
garage
garage.
opener.
It is. It's a garage door
It's
opener.
held together with duct tape.
They actually took this garage door opener to Teresa's house to see if it would work.
Oh God, they're desperate, huh?
Yep.
That sounds pretty desperate to me. Because couldn't you just try it at their garage door? Like, I don't know.
We
or
got-
just ask
we-
somewhere.
We've got this one. 7829. Interview. Yeah, this is 7829 here. What the hell this is? Oh, it's a receipt. Intimate treasures.
Handcuffs.
Yep. Another one, intimate treasures. Without flipping that, this is the furry pink handcuffs.
Well, all I have to say about the idea of him handcuffing her or anybody, handcuffs are okay, but you know they leave DNA. You know what doesn't? Zip ties. You zip tie someone's hands, and then you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's a liability if you put that on someone's skin and then they go missing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Stephen Avery understood about DNA. For Christ's sakes, it's what got him out of prison.
Some old shoes here. Somebody's drawers or bikini. I don't know. Yeah, I was finally able to get this one too. There's actually two of these. 78, 27, and 28. Calls between Jody and Steve and jail calls, but we're still missing several from this time frame. 78, yeah, and there's 28. And then, of course, the Calumet County Sheriff's dispatch that we've got. Took more than this tape here. You know, I've always looked at this tape and I thought, why does it just say 11.5? It's got to be in this 60-minute tape, you know. So I'm not exactly sure what this is supposed to represent.
Dispatch logger? Why would you?
I don't know.
Dispatch phone at 10:29. Stir. Can you zoom in on stir? The last word there. Stun.
Sturm?
Sturm? Pam Sturm?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Forgot about that. So this has been extracted out of the dispatch. They made a tape of it, which is fine. We've got the call, so it don't matter.
I mean, it indicates what they thought was an important thing, right? They took it off the dispatch. They had plans for it. You know, they knew that her acting was going to be on full display, and they did not. They wanted to play that for the jury.
And here's some butts from
Tom
Pierce. Yeah.
Did you say Pierce?
Yeah, Tom Pierce.
Western
I
Avenue,
guess-
Green Bay.
Yeah, I guess these are Teresa's.
Hey, that's an interesting point. She was a smoker.
I guess at times she was, certainly.
Yeah. I mean, back in those times, I was too. I'm ashamed of it. I wish I would have never smoked, but I'm not going to lie about it.
Well, I smoked off and on for many years, but I can't say I was really ashamed of it. I just did it, you know. I was one of these people that
I was ashamed.
I mean, I
while
wouldn't
was
start
doing it.
again
I was
for
ashamed
anything. But
after I was doing it. I think I just knew that I shouldn't have. Because it's just, it's bad to the bone.
I enjoyed. Yeah,
every
I knew
minute.
it too. But I enjoyed.
I enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
I'd be like, I don't want to quit smoking because I like it. That's what I like it.
Especially have a couple of beers, whatever. Yeah, you get some cigarettes going. Yeah. Got more drawers here or something here.
Party like it's the 80s.
That's right. More drawers. More drawers.
I mean, now are these?
Yeah, are they all Teresa's? Is it necessary to have that many pairs?
Well, I'm sorry.
What's the point of it?
Teresa's?
Yeah, these are Teresa's. I'm sure they are.
I just don't get the point of it.
Are these the ones that were provided by Ryan, where Ryan knew they were they were in the plastic bag, all ready to go?
God, it makes me want to dry reach.
Sorry.
11:14, is that right? 05.
I just don't see the point in it, to be honest.
No, I don't either. I really don't. And there's a whole series of photographs here. They're overheads.
Yeah, I love these photographs. I just wish we could see more, that they were more clear or whatever, because they were taken at the time, weren't they?
Yeah, these are photos of photos, so they're terrible. Per se. It's basically the same thing over and over again.
Just Cuss Road. That was Cuss Road.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, certainly, absolutely.
So it looks so different from a straight aerial drone perspective.
And the salvage yard. There's a whole stack of these.
Yeah, I'd love to analyze them. I'd like to go over them and have a look at them and try and lighten some and just analyze them in general.
I'm going to flip this.
See where things are, like where were the burn barrels exactly?
Yeah.
The thing is, we don't know
I love that picture there.
Does it have a date on it? Because if it was 10 years before that, it doesn't really help us,
No, they're taken at the time, weren't they?
Yeah, these are taken at the time.
Oh, okay, my bad. I thought these were previously.
I'm pretty sure these were taken by the Air National Guard. I can't prove that. I tried to get. I actually did open records request those, and I was told they don't exist.
Well, let me just take the opportunity to say on how fast Pam found the RAV looking at that picture.
That's right. And she'd have stayed there until,
Well, Checking Convictions did a little investigatory work for us, and she says that she looked up the badge number, and it's obsolete named Green Bay, Wisconsin police badge. So it was an active badge, but there's no name attached to it.
It was an active badge with no name.
That's interesting.
Did you say?
It's an obsolete badge.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Yes. I'm not sure. Another big wide overhead calf. Just look at all those cars, thousands. They're just everywhere.
Yeah. I wanna grab that picture after this, and I'm gonna lighten it and just analyze it and zoom in, and I don't know.
Look for Where's Waldo.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let me back up one. This is a little bit broader one. This is of Cuss Road. Or
as Redant calls it, Kuss.
Kuss. Yeah,
Kudos,
Kudus.
bro.
He's got a really strange accented way of saying that.
Certainly does. That's why I noticed it when he said it.
A lot of stuff going on just around Radant's property, just off the property.
This is Stephen and Barb's trailer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look, there's the van, Barb's van, parked right there. Oh, they're such great photos.
Yeah, I'd really like to have the originals. I really would.
Deer camp.
Yep.
Well, what do we got left?
Why are they interested in deer camp, do you think?
I don't know. Was that Jeff?
You can answer Calf's question first. I was just saying how much left in the reel. But I don't know, Calf. Why would they be so interested in deer camp? I mean, what was the date on these pictures? Do we know?
We can look at the metadata.
Well, yeah, I mean, the metadata will at least tell us when they're taking the pictures of the pictures.
These are dated January 13th, 2006.
Yeah, okay, that's not going to help me.
But you can look at the Kratz email about when the Air National Guard went up, and it was long before this. It was back in November, I'm sure it was.
Well, that's why I asked how much you got left in the reel, because we're creeping close to 3 hours.
Well, then we probably should just. I can get to the end of this section here because they're all basically the same, and then we can stop because there's still a lot of photos to go. A lot. I can't tell you, but there's hundreds.
Wow. It would be nice to have these actual photos, but the digital photo of the photo is not nearly as helpful. Yeah, there's a big open body of water.
Well, these are the silt ponds, right?
Yeah.
Calf, isn't that what they call them? The silt ponds?
I've got no idea, but I know that that big one there at the back, I think the dogs hit on that a couple of times, but nothing ever came of it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it may have been this green one over here. One of them they said to stay out of. I don't know if it's because it was, potential, for poison, hazardous. Yeah. I'll zip through these. Like I said, they're all basically the same. I just wish we had the originals so I could really look at in some detail, because these are clearly some high quality photos. Clearly, for 2005. I don't know what this is.
That's the SCADA residence on Jambo Creek, where the two young girls snuck out and saw the fire on Halloween.
Yeah, okay.
Interesting to take a picture of their house, isn't it?
Yes, they take actually quite a few of that property, funny enough.
Oh, interesting.
And I thought, why so many of that property?
The one that got me that I don't know if it's just not convenient or why, but if you look straight across at the Farrell gas stop, right, where the truck driver fills up the big tank, right, or they take it from the big tank, and anyway, right behind there in the same driveway, there's another quarry and sand pit right there. So it's like there's just so many opportunities in different. You can see it on that picture right there, actually.
That's Michael's. Wasn't it Michael's quarry?
Across the road.
The street?
See across the street there, Jack?
Yeah. Across 147. That one.
Yeah, that one.
So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's another spot you could hide something. If you needed to hide the RAB overnight for a few nights and then roll it onto Stevens, you could have held it up into that quarry and then pushed it. All you'd have to do is push it across the street. You don't have to push it down 147.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm gonna stop right here I'm gonna stop at the map here. How about that? We good?
That sounds good. Yeah, we can start up at the map next time, and it sounds perfect to me.
You need to fix your internet. You need to run down the road and fix your internet, man.
We got coconut wireless out here, dude. I wish I did have the internet. I'm surprised it's been out for this long. It's one of the longest times I've ever been without it. But I was able to pull this off using my phone and sitting here
fantastic,
holding my monopod, trying to keep this up. But thank you guys, Kath and Jack. You guys make it all possible.
Thanks for having us. We're just starting to break up now, so you've done well.
I know I'm breaking up. I can hear it on my end too. So appreciate everybody coming out and supporting the channel, supporting the cause, and going through these pictures with us. We'll be back in 2 weeks. And I will hand it over to Kath and Jack.
Hey, thanks for coming, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks for having me. Love the pictures. Just, appreciate you all.
For Jack and Kath and Cal and everybody, all the other contributors out there, this is Jeff Jones saying this has been Discussing a Murderer Live after episode 30. Thank you guys. See you in 2 weeks.
Good night.